Colombo and maybe from University of Peiris. So thank Joas and giving this opportunity to our students. I really appreciate that. With the
Due to technical difficulties, we request a little moment from all of you till Dr. Lilani Attygalle joins back. Madam, I hope you can hear us.
Sorry about the delay, or I don't know, maybe I got disconnected. I can hear me. Okay, I assume that you can hear me now.
Yes, madam, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. Maybe, we are going to have rain and some sort of a disturbance happen. So I just wanted to mention, this is happening online again, even this year. Last year, we also organized an event like this. However, I would like to do these sessions actually physically even, but maybe doing a Zoom meeting, we can get to know and get the opportunity of having all these wonderful previous students, in a long distance manner. However, if we can see the undergraduate audience in the physical environment, that would be more interactive, even though others can join online. Anyway, you all are waiting for this moment for a long time. I know that even starting from the second semester, most of the students are actually, looking for these details. They need information, they need guidance. Sometimes students, come to my office and then they ask about these opportunities. So this way, when we meet, as a group, I think it's always good to discuss things. Maybe the panel discussions are always benefited, beneficial to all the students, having like only one lecturer and one student group. Other than that, I think this way we can have lots of information considering different fields. So actually, I have not planned to go deep into, my normal discussion method. I thought that giving these other students who graduated from University of Srijawadhanapura or from these other universities, we should give them a chance to talk about their journeys. So especially at the end, you will have some surprises as well. So keep your fingers crossed. And I would welcome and I would invite all these other guest speakers to join and give their guidance to our students. Thank you all.
Thank you, madam. Now it's time to sit back and learn from our distinguished guest presenters. Introducing Mr. Channa Hatharasinghe, a PhD candidate at Swinburne Center for Quantum Science and Technology Theory. He also earned a degree at Melbourne's University of Technology. He was the summer intern who had the opportunity to enroll in CERN 2019. Mr. Channa Hatharasinghe, over to you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear.
Okay, all good. Okay. Just give me a second. I'll share the presentation. Okay, all good. Thank you for that kind introduction. And first of all, I would like to thank Dr. Lilani and the Astronomy Club of University of Srijawadhanapura for giving me this opportunity to give you a little bit of an idea on how to apply for PhD positions or Master of Research positions in Australia. Okay, so that is going to be the topic that I'll be discussing. And feel free to drop in any questions that you have through the chat maybe. So so I can maybe answer some questions along the way. Okay. Okay. So let's just give a little bit of a brief introduction about myself. So I completed my Bachelor of in Science in Physics from Jawadhanapura University in 2019. And I won the Professor PCP Fernando Gold Medal as well. And during my fourth year, I was also a summer student at CERN, and where I worked on a project based on the Higgs boson reconstruction technique using boosted decision tree. So that's a little bit about what I did for my undergraduate and basically where I completed my degree. There was a small clarification about the introduction. I didn't do any degree at Melbourne University of Technology. Maybe that's a some kind of a typo from somewhere. So currently I'm a PhD candidate at the Center for Quantum Science and Technology, which is a theory group at Swinburne University of Technology. So basically I am working in a theoretical quantum physics group, and my current supervisors are Professor Peter Drummond and Professor Margaret Reed, who has a lot of experience in areas of quantum foundations and quantum optics. So little bit about my research area. So I'm working on projects related to quantum foundations, quantum paradoxes, quantum computing, and a little bit of quantum simulations as well. And so I've only completed 1 year so far, so I'm at my second year. And my thesis is kind of aiming to solve kind of a big problem that we have in quantum mechanics. So if any of you all have done quantum mechanics, you might have known there's something called the measurement problem. So my thesis is trying to come up with a new kind of a solution, a new way to look at the problem based on retrocausality. So that's a little bit of an idea of what I'm doing and what my background is. Okay. So I applied for Australian PhDs I started applying 2020. So I joined Swinburne, but I also got some other opportunities from Australia as well. So I'm highlighting this here. So just to let the audience know, so I have some kind of an experience in applying for multiple universities. So I got some offers from Macquarie University, Australian National University, as well as University of Sydney as well. Okay, so let's talk about the process on how you can secure a master's or a PhD position in Australia. So the Australian system is a little bit different to the USA system, where you apply for a graduate school. So here in the Australian system, mainly your initial task is to somehow secure a potential supervisor. So that's the main task. So you don't directly apply to a graduate school. You first of all try to figure out a suitable supervisor. So first of all, the starting point is, if you're planning to do a PhD or a master's, so you have to have some idea about your research interests. So it may be, in my case, it was quantum mechanics. I was mostly interested in theoretical physics. So that was my kind of research interest that I had from the beginning. So all the questions that I applied to were related to that. So that's the first step. So you need to identify what your research interests or what your research likes are. So then you need to figure out some kind of a ranking system. Okay, that's the easiest way to find, because you get about 30, 40 universities in Australia. The same process applies to New Zealand as well, but I don't have that much of experience in applying for New Zealand universities. But you can use the QS ranking system or US News. Any ranking system, just put Australia and you will get the entire list of universities that you find in Australia. So that's the easiest way to find out, because then you can go to their websites and figure out what kind of research areas that they have, and you can start finding a list of supervisors. So that's very important. So once you find a list of supervisors, then the important step is to connect with these supervisors. So you have to, then once you secure a supervisor, you will be able to lodge an application for the graduate school. So the important thing here is, somehow you should be able to find a supervisor that's willing to take you on. And once you find a supervisor, it's kind of, you will definitely get a position in whatever the program that you apply to. Okay, so so how to find a potential supervisor? So easiest way is you drop an email. So I will just give a little bit of an introduction, because this is very important when you are dealing with a potential supervisor. You have to, because you only get one chance, so you have to send kind of a proper email, kind of a catchy email, to get their attention, to show that, okay, I have this kind of background, so I am the student that you're looking for that can do this project, that project. So you need to show that you can, that you are confident and you will be able to get it done. So you need to have a catchy introduction. Okay, so these are a couple of things that you can mention in your email to make it look more appealing for a supervisor. So you need to have a catchy introduction. You can give a brief, maybe like explain in 1 or 2 sentences about your educational background, not that much, because you will be anyhow adding your CV to your email as well. So little bit of a background on your education, and you can highlight few points on your research experience, which may be your undergraduate degree experience, or maybe you worked at a internship and the experience that you got there. So a little bit of a summary there would help. And also you need to kind of highlight, okay, so there are a lot of, so when you take a university, a lot of people that are in the research group. So you need to kind of show, okay, why am I sending this email to you? Because maybe I can talk to another person. So you have to kind of convince him. So how your research interest and what the supervisor is kind of looking for, kind of how they match, you need to kind of highlight that point. And so that's what I have mentioned here. And another important thing is you need to discuss about the available funding opportunities. So I will discuss about funding a little later, but it will always be good to check whether the supervisor is having some funding opportunities with him, or whether the university is doing some funding. And in Australia, some supervisors, they have government funding as well. So it depends. So it will be good to have that discussion as well. And always be open to have a Zoom meeting. So people like to have Zoom meetings, so you can easily interact with each other and get a better understanding. And that will be like that will be kind of the next step. So you might get a response in, so the email that you get from your potential supervisor may be, okay, let's arrange a Zoom meeting to discuss things over. And if you can nail that meeting perfectly, there's a good chance that you'll be able to secure a portion, the portion that you're looking for. Okay, so moving on. So yeah, make a good first impression. That's really important. Okay, so let's little bit talk about funding. So now, if you're coming to Australia, it's basically impossible to pay and do a PhD because the cost for the degree is extremely high. So we need to have some kind of funding to manage our expenses. Okay, so the funding comes in three ways. So either there will be some kind of government funding, or there will be university funding, or there can be supervisor funding. So government funding, it depends. Some supervisors, they have certain government funding available to them, so they can directly link. They can get that funding for you, but it will come through the government. Okay. And there are also opportunities where the university is having certain funding. So each university have their kind of own funding, and you can get university funding. And in some cases, the supervisors have their own budgets, so they can even fund you. That's possible. Okay. So when you apply for funding, or when you're looking for funding, it has to be either three of them. Okay. And so when I talk about funding, it includes tax-free stipend. So usually per annum, you get about 29,000 to 35,000 here. It depends on the university, and it was on average, it was about 30,000, but recently some universities, they increased their stipend from 30,000 to 35,000. So, and every year this increases slightly a bit. So for example, when you start your PhD, you might get 35, but in the next year, you might get 36,000. So they kind of index it annually. So on average, you get something in between 29,000 to 35. And when I say funding, this will include a tuition fee waiver as well. So usually they give you this tuition fee waiver for 4 years. And the funding is usually available for minimum 3 years. In some cases, you can extend it to either 3.5 years or 4 years. Okay. So another important point to highlight here is in the Australian system, you can directly apply for a PhD. So you don't need to have a master's. So if you have a 4-year bachelor's degree, you can directly apply for a PhD. Okay, so I will talk about that towards little bit towards the end. And so master's is not necessary. And also some in these funding packages, sometimes there may be relocation allowance. That means when you're coming from Sri Lanka to Australia, they will take care of the airfare, or they give you half of that amount. So there is a relocation allowance, and in some cases, they will cover the health cover as well. Okay, so that costs about 3,500 for a single cover. Okay, so it depends on the type of funding package that you get. Okay, so what about the English language requirements? So there are a lot of options that you can do. So it depends on the university. So if you are really interested, you can check a specific university website and you can see they allow different types of English exams. But the most popular and the common one that students do is the IELTS. Okay, so you have to do the academic module. So usually in Australia, they ask for a overall band of 6.5, and sometimes it can slightly differ. For example, in some universities, it will be 7, and in some universities, it will be 6 as well. So that's kind of the average. So it's not a very high score, but it depends on the university. And in some cases, if for example, you have a band maybe 5.5, and they will still allow you to get that offer. So it depends. So you can always check the university, that specific university website for that information. But in general, it will be the overall score will be 6.5, and the band should be not less than 6.0. Okay. Okay, so I gave you an idea about funding. We talked about connecting with supervisors. I gave you some idea about, okay, what's the starting point? And let's go through some important points. So in Australian system, it is mandatory to have the support of a supervisor. So you can't apply without the support of a supervisor. So you need to have in your application, when you're lodging that official application to the university, there's a tab where you have to mention the name of your supervisor, and having the support of a supervisor is mandatory. So you will not be able to secure anything without going through the help of a supervisor. And there's a kind of a myth going there that you need to have publications if you apply into Australian universities. That's not the case. So when I applied, I didn't have any publication. But still I was able to secure a fully funded scholarship without that much of a problem. And I know some other cases as well. Recently, some of, I think, the few demonstrators at the, I think 2021 batch, I think the current set of demonstrators, I think 2 of them got offers to Australian universities. They kind of contacted me very closely, and they didn't have publications as well. So, but both of them were able to secure fully funded scholarships without that much of a hassle, actually. So it's all about making a good impression, and it's all about taking that, show that you're confident, and then you can take it on. So it depends on that. Okay. And when it comes to funding, it is easier to secure funding if you have a first class. So that's a true case. So if you have first class, it's very easier. But if you have a second upper or second lower, it's slightly difficult to get funding. For example, if you have maybe a second upper, but if you don't have any publications, if you have only a second upper, it will be extremely difficult. You might only get a tuition fee waiver, but you might not get what you call a stipend. But if you have that kind of problem, you feel like, okay, I'm not going to get a first class. So what you can do to strengthen your profile will be to go for some international publication. So I know some students, I think from 2017 or 18, like senior to me, who had second uppers, but they had international publications. So they were able to secure some funding opportunities, but it's a bit challenging, to be honest. So, so if you have first class, there's a good chance that you're able to secure a fully funded portion. And so what about what you can do after completing your PhD? So in Australia, once you complete your PhD, usually it takes about 3 to 4 years. So on average, they say you have to complete by 3 years, but in some cases, usually it goes up to about 3.5 to 4 years. So once you complete your PhD, you can stay in Australia for another 4 to 6 years. So either you can gain some experience by working as a postdoc, or maybe you have different plans and you can go into the industry as well. So it depends on your personal preference. So keep that in mind as well. So you can extend your visa for about 4 to 6 years where you can work in Australia. Okay, so another important thing that I kind of forgot to mention is I did not that much mention about this Master of Research aspect. I was mainly talking about PhD. Now, for Australia, it's extremely difficult to get funding for Master of Science. For example, that is full coursework. You don't have any research there. It is extremely difficult. But sorry about that. But it is possible to get scholarships for Master of Research programs. Okay. So for example, this Macquarie University scholarship that I got, that was for a Master of Research program. And that was kind of connected to a PhD program in the long run. But it is possible to get scholarships for Master of Research, but it is a bit difficult. But if you are completing a 4-year degree, you have a direct pathway to a PhD. So if you have a first class, it will make things much easier. Okay. So, so I talked about funding, talked about English requirements, and we talked about things to keep in mind. Yep. So that's basically what I had planned in mind. So I gave you a kind of an idea on where to start things off. So just to summarize everything, so the first thing is you need to figure out who you are connecting with, what universities you are applying to, and then it's make a list of supervisors, and then start reaching out to those supervisors, and try to arrange some, somehow try to get some response. That's the difficult thing. For example, in my case, I remember I was applying during the COVID period, so I was writing for supervisors in Australia. At that time, many people were reluctant to get students because they were not sure when students can come to Australia. So there was funding was extremely hard to find. So I think my email, I have a like special label PhD in my Gmail inbox that has about 200, 300 emails. So I've written to people, I have written to graduate programs, administrators. So it's not an easy task. It's not like you write 10 emails and you get 10 responses back. So it's a case of you write to 10 people, you might get 1 response back. So it depends totally on the supervisor. So sometimes supervisors, you're willing to work with them, but maybe they don't have funding. Maybe they are not looking for students at that time. Maybe some are maybe retired and they are not taking any active students. So there can be a lot of reasons for that. So it's not an easy process, but that's the starting point. So make a list and start reaching out to people. And so you can make a good first impression. So that's very important. And so that will kind of help you to secure scholarship in Australia. So I wish you all the best. So if you have any questions, so I have my WhatsApp number and Facebook here. So you can connect with me, okay, drop me a message or give me a call at any time, just connect. And I'll be happy to advise you on any matter in related to Australia or even US or anything. Just drop a message and I'll be happy to help out. Okay. Okay, then thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Channa Hatharasinghe. And next, allow me to introduce Miss Nimna Peiris. She graduated from the Faculty of Applied Sciences 48th convocation in 2022 with the top overall and physics GPAs. She is currently working as an assistant lecturer in the Department of Physics at the University of Sri Jayewardenepura. She is going to talk about the USA PhD application process and how to fulfill the qualifying requirements today. Ms. Nimna Peiris, over to you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Ms. Nimna.
Okay. So, good evening, everyone. Good evening, madam. And I would like to give my gratitude for inviting me to this session, madam. So my name is Nimna Peiris. I'm an assistant lecturer in the physics department. I'm going to talk about the USA PhD application procedure based on my experience. For better understanding, I think it's better to use Sinhala. So I will use Sinhala from now on. So in USA PhD, it's a 5-year PhD program. It has mainly two intakes, fall term and spring term. Fall term එක පාටම් ගන්න සාමාන්‍ය application open කරන්නේ ඔක්තෝබර් මාසයේ නොවැම්බර් කාලෙදී. ඒතකොට spring එක පටන් ගන්න සාමාන්‍ය application open කරන්නේ මාර්තු වල වගේ. හැබැයි ගොඩක් යුනිවර්සිටි PhD applicants ලා ගන්න fall term එකේ විතරයි. හැබැයි සමහර universities තියෙනවා spring term එකේදීත් ගන්නවා. හැබැයි ඔයගොල්ලන් ගොඩක් consider කරන්න ඕනේ සමහර universities spring term එකේ ගන්න applicants ලාට financial aid scholarship දෙන්නේ නැහැ. So you have to consider about that as well. So let's see what are the main requirements for applying the PhD in USA. සාමාන්‍ය ඒගොල්ලන් ඉල්ලන්නේ 4-year BSc degree එකක්. දැන් PhD physics වලට apply කරනවා නම් ඒගොල්ලන් ඉල්ලන්නේ physics related 4-year degree එකක් or other relevant subject. Means mathematics, applied physics, something like that. ඊට අමතරව ඔයගලන්ට හොඳ research experience එකක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒ වගේම application PhD apply කරන්න සමහර universities ඉල්ලනවා GRE general GRE course and physics GRE course. මම apply කරේ 2023 fall intake එකට. එතකොට ගොඩක් universities GRE ඉල්ලලා තිබෙන්නේ නැහැ, but සමහර universities optional කියලා තියෙනවා. ඒතකොට optional තිබ්බොත් අපිට ඕන නම් submit කරන්න පුළුවන්, නැත්නම් submit නොකර ඉන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි ඕගලන්ගේ GPA එක ගොඩක් සාමාන්‍ය අඩුයි නම් I recommend that you should do GRE. ඒ වගේම සමහර universities තිබ්බා required කළ GRE. But in my experience, even if they say that they require GRE, if you have a good GPA and good academic achievements, they will ignore that you didn't submit your GRE. So, ඕගලන්ට හොඳ good academic achievement එකක් තියෙනවා නම් සමහර විට ඒගොල්ලන් කියලා තිබ්බත් GRE requested කියලා ඒගොල්ලන් සමහර විට ඕගලන් GRE submit නොකරත් සමහර විට ඕගලන්ට offer එකක් එන්න possibility එක තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේම ඊළඟ එක තමයි English qualifications. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් IELTS, TOEFL, other exams උත් තියෙනවා Channa sir කිව්වා වගේ. සාමාන්‍ය IELTS තමයි ලංකාවේ ගොඩක් අය popular exam එක. එතකොට සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ඒගොල්ලන් minimum ඉල්ලන්නේ 6.5 score එක overall. සමහර universities තියෙනවා 6. සමහර universities තියෙනවා 7. සමහර universities තියෙනවා 8. So I think at least minimum ඕගලන් IELTS වලට 7 point වත් ගන්න try කරන්න. ඒ වගේම තව consider කරන්න ඕනේ සමහර universities තියෙනවා ඕගලන්ට IELTS score එක අඩු වුණත් ඕගලන්ගේ academic achievements හොඳයි නම් ඕගලන්ට offer එකක් දෙනවා කියලා ඒගොල්ලන් websites වලින් instructions දීලා තියෙනවා. So you have to go through the websites, their websites. So මම දැන් කියනවා කොහොමද අපි website එකක් go through කළා USA universities වලට අපිට ඕනේ guidance ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ instructions බලන්න කියලා. උදාහරණයක් ගමු. අපි හිතමු ආට University of Pittsburgh වලට apply කරන්න ඕන කියලා. එතකොට ඔයාලා Google එකට ගිහිලා search කරන්න University of Pittsburgh physics කියලා. ඊට පස්සේ ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ physics department එකේ website එකට ගියාට පස්සේ graduate program එකට යන්න. graduate program එකට ගියාට පස්සේ ඒකේ ඔක්කොම details තියෙනවා. apply කරන්න ඕන විදිහ, deadline මොනවාද, ඔයගොල්ලෝ apply submit කරන්න ඕන මොනවාද, recommendations කීයක් ඕනේද, ඊට පස්සේ ඔයගොල්ලන්ට scholarships නැත්නම් financial aid ඒවා ගැන instructions and guidance ඔක්කොම දීලා තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේම ඔයගොල්ලන්ට මොනවා හරි ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා නම් ඒගොල්ලන්ට contact කරන්න ඕන emails උත් දීලා තියෙනවා. ඒතකොට මම recommend කරන්නේ ඔයගොල්ලන්ට මොනවා හරි ප්‍රශ්නයක්, ඒ කියන්නේ මොකක් හරි financial aid ගැන, scholarship ගැන මොනවා හරි ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා නම් ඔයගොල්ලන්ට ඒගොල්ලන්ව contact කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒගොල්ලන්ට email එකක් දැම්මම අනිවාර්යෙන් ඒගොල්ලන් අපිට reply කරනවා. ඒ වගේම ඔයගොල්ලන් දැන් තියෙන ලොකුම ප්‍රශ්නය තමයි අපිට සල්ලි ගෙවන්න වේද කියන එක. ස්කෝලර්ෂිප් එකක් සිකියුර් කරගන්න පුළුවන් වේද කියන එක. Channa sir කිව්වා වගේ ඕස්ට්‍රේලියාවට වඩා USA application system එක වෙනස්. අපිට කෙලින්ම graduate school එකේ application එක open කරලා submit කරන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට මේ website එක, මේ University of Virginia එකේ website එකේ physics graduate program එකේ website එකෙන් ගත්ත එකක් මේ තියෙන්නේ. එතකොට ඒගොල්ලන් කියලා තියෙනවා all admitted PhD students will be offered financial aid. No separate application process is required. So ඒගොල්ලන් already කියනවා ඕගොල්ලන්ට offer letter එකක් ආවොත් අනිවාර්යෙන් ඕගොල්ලන්ට financial aid එකක් දෙනවා. ඒක වෙනම ස්කෝලර්ෂිප් එකක් ගන්න අපිට වෙනම ඇප්ලිකේෂන්ස් දෙන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. අපි කෙලින්ම PhD වලට ඇප්ලයි කරාට පස්සේ අපිට ඔෆර් එකක් ආවොත් ඒකත් එක්කම අපිට ෆයිනෑන්ෂල් ඒඩ් එකක් දෙනවා. තව උදාහරණයක් ගත්තොත් University of Rochester ඒගොල්ලන් කියලා තියෙනවා ඒගොල්ලන් සපෝට් කරන්නේ teaching assistant or research assistant stipend. So ඒගොල්ලන් අපිට අපි ඇප්ලයි කරාට පස්සේ අපිට ඔෆර් එකක් ආවා කියමුකෝ. එතකොට ඒ ඔෆර් ලෙටර් එකම අපිට කියනවා අපිට teaching assistantship එකක් හරි research assistantship එකක් හරි දෙනවද කියලා ඒ පොසිෂන් එක. ඒ පොසිෂන් එකට අපිට ගාණක් ගෙවනවා monthly. මේක ගැන අනිත් අක්කලා ගියපු අය අයියලා ගියපු අය හොඳට කියයි. ඒගොල්ලන් ගොඩක් experience තියෙන නිසා. So ඒගොල්ලන් කියනවා සාමාන්‍ය අපේ යුනිවර්සිටි එක තියෙන ස්ටේට් එක මත අපිට හම්බ වෙන ස්ටයිෆන්ඩ් එක වෙනස් වෙනවා. සාමාන්‍ය අපිට cost of living එක depends වෙනවා අපිට හම්බ වෙන ස්ටයිෆන්ඩ් එක. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් දෙන ස්ටයිෆන්ඩ් එක අපේ living expenses cover කරගන්න පුළුවන්. ඊට පස්සේ මෙතන තව තියෙනවා all students admitted into our PhD program receive a full tuition scholarship. So අපිට දැන් අපිට offer letter එකක් ආවම අපිට ගෙවන්න ඕනේ නැහැ tuition fees. සම්පූර්ණයෙන් අපි nominal තමයි ඉගෙන ගන්න. ඊට අමතරව අපිට stipend එකකුත් හම්බ වෙනවා අපේ living expenses cover කරගන්න. ඉතින් ඕගලන්ට තව එකක් තියෙනවා සමහර විට ඕගලන්ට academics achievements ගොඩක් හොඳට තියෙනවා නම් ඕගලන්ට සමහර විට fellowship එකක් හම්බ වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. It's like another scholarship. So in fellowships you will get a stipend as well. Instead of being appointment as a teaching or research assistant. So ඕගලන්ට fellowship එකක් හම්බුනොත් ඕගලන්ට teaching assistant or research assistantship responsibilities දෙන්නේ නැහැ. එතකොට ඕගලන්ට fellowship එකක් හම්බුනොත් තියෙන්නේ පළවෙනි අවුරුද්දේ ඉගෙන ගන්න. එතකොට fellowship එකෙන් අපිට monthly stipend එකක් හම්බ වෙනවා. ඊට වඩා එතකොට යුනිවර්සිටි එකට හම්බ වෙන විදිහවල් වෙනස් වෙනවා. එතකොට ඕගලන්ට අර වෙබ්සයිට් එකේ තියෙන contact information එකෙන් ඒගොල්ලන්ට emails යවලා ඕගලන්ට මොකක් හරි ඩබ් එකක් තියෙනවා නම් මේවා ගැන ඒගොල්ලන්ගෙන් අහන්න පුළුවන්. So ඕගලන් දැන් application එක submit කරනවා කියමුකෝ. එතකොට submit කරනකොට documents කිහිපයක් තියෙනවා ඕගලන්ගේ application එකට upload කරලා submit කරන්න. පළවෙනි important දේ තමයි statement of purpose. එතකොට SOP එක කියලා කියනවා. මේක ගොඩක්ම වැදගත්. එතකොට මේකේ සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපි ලියන්නේ අපි මේක ලියන්න ඕනේ අපේ research interests මොනවාද? එතකොට ඔයාගේ research experiences මොනවාද? professional experiences මොනවාද? එතකොට මොන වගේ academic achievements ඔයා අරන් තියෙන්නේ? ඒ වගේම ඔයා දැන් ඔයා දන්නා academic side research කරනකොට ඔයාට hardships දෙනවා, මොන හරි obstacles දෙනවා. ඔයා කොහොමද ඒවා overcome කරේ? ඒ වගේම ඔයා extra curriculum activities මොන හරි කරලා තියනවාද? ඒ වගේන් ගත්ත experiences මොනවාද? ඊට පස්සේ ලියන්න ඕනේ ඔයා දැන් apply කරන university එකේ department එකේ ඔයා කැමති professor කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවද? ඒ professor කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා නම් ඔයාට එයාගේ නමත් ලියන්න පුළුවන්. I would like to work with professor ගේ නම. එම් කියලා statement of purpose එක ලියන්න. ඒ වගේම අන්තිමට statement of purpose එක ලියන්න ඕනේ. ඔයා PhD එකක් ගත්තොත් ඔයා community එකට මොන වගේ දායකත්වයක් දෙන්න හිතන්නේ? මොනවද ඔයාගේ future plans මොනවද කියලා statement of purpose එකේ කියන්න ඕනේ. So statement of purpose is really important. You have to be ඒ කියන්නේ කවුරු හරි එක්කෙනෙක් බැලුවම ඔයා ගැන ලොකු impress එකක් ඇති වෙන විදිහට ඔයා ඒක ලියන්න ඕනේ. Another important thing is CV. So I recommend you මම ඔයගලන්ට recommend කරනවා ඕගලන්ගේ format එකකින්ම CV එක ලියන්න. එතකොට CV එකේ ඉස්සෙල්ලාම ඔයගලන් highlight කරන්න ඕනේ ඔයාගේ academic achievements මොනවාද? ඊට පස්සේ මොනවා research අනිවාර්යෙන් කරලා තියෙන්න ඕනේ. In my experience ඔයාගේ research experience මොනවාද? ඒවා highlight කරන්න. ඊට පස්සේ ඔයා publications කරලා තියනවද? conference කරලා තියනවද? ඒවා highlight කරන්න ඕනේ. ඒ කියන්නේ දැක්ක ගමන් CV එක ඔයා ගැන impress වෙන්න ඕනේ ඒගොල්ලන්. එතකොට ඊට අමතරව සමහර යුනිවර්සිටිස් ඉල්ලලා තිනවා රිසර්ච් ස්ටේට්මන්ට් කියලා. රිසර්ච් ස්ටේට්මන්ට් එක ලියන්න ඕනේ. ඕගොල්ලන් දැන් රිසර්ච් කරනවානේ අනිවාර්යයෙන් අපි 4th year ඉන්නකොට රිසර්ච් කරනවා. එතකොට 4 year degree කරනකොට අනිවාර්යෙන් ඉන්ටර්න්ෂිප් එකකුත් කරනවා. එතකොට ඉන්ටර්න්ෂිප් එකට අදාළ රිසර්ච් එකකුත් කරනවා. එතකොට ඔයා ලියන්න ඕනේ මම කරේ මොකද රිසර්ච් එක පොඩි ඉන්ට්‍රොඩක්ෂන් එකක් දෙන්න. ඊට පස්සේ ඔයා කොහොමද ඒක කන්ඩක්ට් කරේ. එතකොට ඔයාට මොනවාද හම්බුන ඉෂුස් දැන් කරනකොට රිසර්ච් කරනකොට ඉෂුස් හම්බ වෙනවා. කොහොමද ඒවා ඕවර්කම් කරේ and ඔයාගේ කමිට්මන්ට් එක ඔයා මොනවාද අන්තිමට රිසර්ච් කළා ඔයා මොන වගේ දෙයක්ද ඔයා ඉගෙන ගත්තේ අනේ ඒ වගේ එක්ස්ප්ලනේෂන් එකක් තමයි රිසර්ච් ස්ටේට්මන්ට් එකේ කරන්න ඕනේ. අනිවාර්යෙන් ස්ටේට්මන්ට් ඔෆ් පර්පස් and රිසර්ච් ස්ටේට්මන්ට් එක ලියනකොට ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ ඉංග්‍රීසි හොඳට තියෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒ වගේම ග්‍රැමර් මිස්ටේක්ස් තියෙන්න බෑ, ස්පෙලිං මිස්ටේක්ස් තියෙන්න බෑ. ඒවා ගැන ගොඩක් සැලකිලිමත් වෙන්න. සමහර යුනිවර්සිටිස් විතරයි රිසර්ච් ස්ටේට්මන්ට් එක ඉල්ලන්නේ. but මම රෙකමන්ඩ් කරනවා ඉල්ලුවත් නැතත් අපේ ඇප්ලිකේෂන් එක ඕපන් කරොත් ඔයගොල්ලෝ ඇප්ලිකේෂන් එක ඕපන් කරාම ඔයගොල්ලන්ට තේරෙයි ඇප්ලිකේෂන් එකේ තියෙනවා we can attach additional document as well. So I recommend that you should attach this research statement document as well. ඒක ඔයගොල්ලන්ට plus point එකක් වෙයි. ඊට අමතරව අපිට submit කරන්න ඕනේ 3 recommendations. So අපි දන්නවා අපි දැන් 4 year degree එක කරනකොට අනිවාර්යෙන් internship එක and research එක කරනවා. එතකොට ඒකට අදාළ අපිට supervisorsලා ඉන්නවානේ. එතකොට ඕගලන් research එක කරනකොට මොන හරි issue එකක් පොඩි ප්‍රශ්නයක් වුණත් කමන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ මොන හරි ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා නම් මොන හරි අලුත් idea එකක් තියෙනවා නම් හැම වෙලාවෙම ගිහිල්ලා supervisorත් එක්ක කතා කරන්න. supervisorත් එක්ක කතා කරන්න, discuss කරන්න. එතකොට supervisor දන්නවා ඔයාගේ skills මොනවාද? ඔයා කොච්චර ටැලන්ටඩ්ද? ඔයාගේ රිසර්ච් ස්කිල්ස් මොනවාද? එතකොට සුපර්වයිසර් දන්නවා ඔයා ගැන හොඳට දන්නවා. එහෙම දැනගත්තම හොඳ රෙකමෙන්ඩේෂන් එකක් ඔයාට ලියන්න පුළුවන්. So good recommendation is really important in PhD application procedure. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ඉල්ලන්නේ minimum 3 recommendations, but you can submit more than 3 as well. ඊළඟ එකක් තමයි අපි අප්ලෝඩ් කරන්න ඕනේ අපේ ඇප්ලිකේෂන් එකට ස්කෑන් කොපි එකක් අපේ ඔෆිෂියල් ට්‍රාන්ස්ක්‍රිප්ට් එකට. එතකොට සමහර වෙලට අපි 4th year second sem එකේ එක්සෑම්ස් ලියලා ඉවර කරා කියමුකෝ. ඒ වුණාට අපිට රිසර්ච් තාම අවිලා නැහැ. හැබැයි ඔයාට ඒත් pending results මත ඇප්ලිකේෂන් එක සබ්මිට් කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක ගැන instructions instruction pending results ගැන instructions සාමාන්‍ය වෙබ්සයිට් එකේ තියෙනවා. නැත්නම් එහෙම තිබ්බේ නැත්නම් ඔයගලන්ට අදාළ පුද්ගලයන්ව admission contact කරලා ඒ ගැන අහන්න පුළුවන්. So even if you didn't get the final result in your after your 4th year final exam, you still can apply for the PhD in USA. So ඉස්සර කිව්වා වගේම IIT score එක minimum සාමාන්‍ය 6.5 සමහර ඒවා 7ත් ඉල්ලලා තියෙනවා. So I recommend try to score at least 7 for your IELTS exam. So අපි PhD එකට apply කරනවා නම් අපි online application එකක් තමයි තියෙන්නේ. අපි online application එකක් open කරාට පස්සේ අපි ඒකේ අපේ data දානවා. නම, ගම ඒව ටික දැම්මට පස්සේ අපේ SOP එක අප්ලෝඩ් කරන්නත් ඒ ඇප්ලිකේෂන් එකේමයි CV එක අප්ලෝඩ් කරලා අනිත් ඒවා අහලා තියෙන ඒවාට උත්තර ලියලා අන්තිමට අපි සබ්මිට් කරනකොට අපිට ඇප්ලිකේෂන් fee එකක් pay කරන්න වෙනවා. සාමාන්‍ය ඇප්ලිකේෂන් fee එකක් ගොඩක් යුනිවර්සිටිස් වල තියෙනවා. ඒක vary වෙනවා $30 ඉඳන් $100 වෙනකම්. සමහර universities තියෙනවා ඒගොල්ලන් already කියනවා they don't have ධාරණ මෙතින් University Pittsburgh එකේ උඩින්ම ලියන no applications fee for 2023 fall කියලා. ඒ වගේ මම දාපු ඒ වගේ මම හිතන්නේ 3ක තිබ්බා application fees ගෙවන්න ඕනේ නැති ඒවා කෙලින්ම. ඒ වගේම ඔයගොල්ලෝ 4th year second sem එකේ ඉන්නකොට ඒ වගේ universities පොඩ්ඩක් හොයලා තියාගෙන ඉන්න. එතකොට දැන් ගෙවන්න වෙනවා නම් සමහර වෙලාවට ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ තියෙනවා application fee waivers request කියලා. ඊට පස්සේ ඒ අදාළ පුද්ගලයාව ඕගොල්ලන් ඊමේල් එකක් දාලා contact කරගන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට ඒක ලියන විදිහක් තියෙනවා. ඒගොල්ලෝ ඔයා ලියන විදිහෙන් තමයි ඒගොල්ලන් එකත් වෙනම කලාවක් application fee waive කරගන්න එක. So ඔයාට දැන් කොහොමද අපේ ලංකාව bankrupt වෙලා තියෙනනේ. අනේ වගේ එක highlight කරලා ඊට පස්සේ අපේ monthly salary එක highlight කරලා ගෙවන්න බෑ කියන එක ඒගොල්ලන්ට අඟවන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට අපිට බොහෝ දුරට there's a high probability that we will get the application fee waivers. So මම සාමාන්‍යයෙන් 16කට දැම්මා applications. ඒ 16ම application fee waivers ගත්තා. ඒකෙන් 3ක් අනිවාර්යෙන් ගෙවන්න ඕනේ නෑ. අනිත් ටික අනිත් 13ම application fee waivers request කරලා තමයි ගත්තේ. So ඕගලන්ටත් ඒක කරන්න පුළුවන් ඒක නිසා. ඊට පස්සේ දැන් අපේ applications apply කරනකොට වැදගත් කරුණු තියෙනවා. එකක් තමයි මම ඉස්සෙල්ලා කිව්වා වගේ හැම වෙලාවෙම ඔයාගේ research supervisors ලා and academic supervisors ලාත් එක්ක හොඳ good communication එකක් තියාගන්න. මොකද ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ recommendation එක ලියන්න නම් ඒගොල්ලන් ඔයා ගැන හොඳට දැනගෙන ඉන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට ඒක plus point එකක් වෙනවා. ඔයා ගැන හොඳට recommend කරලා තියෙනවා නම් ඔයාට possibility එක වැඩි offer එකක් එන්න USA PhD admission එකෙන්. ඊළඟට ඔයගොල්ලන් දන්නවා 4 year degree එක තියෙනකොට අනිවාර්ය internship එකක් තියෙනවා. internship එක අපි කරනකොට සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපි research එකක් කරන්න ඕනේ internship IT ආයතනෙ. එතකොට ඒකෙන්නුත් ඔයගලන්ට අත්දැකීමක් එනවා. එතකොට ඒක ඔයාගේ CV එකට දාන්නත් පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේම අනිවාර්යෙන් ඔයගලන්ට හොඳ GPA එකක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ඔයගලන්ගේ වෙබ්සයිට් එකේ නම් තියෙන්නේ සාමාන්‍ය යුනිවර්සිටිස් වල තියෙන්නේ minimum 3.3 GPA එකක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ කියලා. But I recommend at least you should have second upper class if you want to secure PhD in USA. ඒ වගේම very important ඔයගලන් you should have more research works. So if you have more research work, then there is a high probability that you will make it. And publication and conference are also important. It will be a plus point. And මම වැරද්දක් කරගත්තා. ඒක තමයි මම IELTS කරේ මම fourth year ඉවර වෙලා මාස දෙකකටත් පස්සේ. එතකොට මම ඒ කාලේදී ටීචින් ඇසිස්ටන්ට් විදිහට ඩිපාර්ට්මන්ට් එකේ වැඩ කරනවා. එතකොට ඒ වැඩත් එක්ක අපිට IELTS එක්සෑම් එක කරගන්න පොඩ්ඩක් අමාරු වෙනවා. ඒක නිසා මම රෙකමන්ඩ් කරන්නේ මම කරගත්ත වැරද්ද කරගන්න එපා. ඔයගොල්ලෝ 4th year second sem වෙනකොට IELTS එක්සෑම් කරන්න ලෑස්ති වෙන්නේ ඒ කාලේ කරන්න. එතකොට ඒ වගේම අපි දන්නවා සාමාන්‍ය අපේ physics department එකේ හැම අවුරුද්දකටම CERN summer student internship එකට apply කරනවා. ඕගොල්ලන්වත් apply කරන්න. CERN විතරක් නෙමෙයි. තව ගොඩක් summer internships තියෙනවා fully funded ඒවා. like CERN, Max Planck Institute ඒවා ගොඩක් fourth year එකේ third year ඉන්නකොට ඕගොල්ලන් ඒවා search කරලා බලන්න. ඒවට පුළුවන් තරම් apply කරන්න. ඒකට ඕගොල්ලන් apply කරලා chance එකක් ආවොත් ඕගොල්ලන්ට ඒ experience එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒක ඉතින් plus point එකක් අනිවාර්යෙන් වෙනවා ඔයාගේ CV එකේ PhD apply කරනකොට. ඒ වගේම work experience. This is really important after your graduations. ඕගොල්ලන් academics or research field related තැනක තමයි work කරන්න ඕනේ දැන්. ඔයා හදිසියවත් graduation එකෙන් පස්සේ dialogue එකේ හරි finance company එකක හරි වැඩ කරොත් ඔයාගේ අර academic continuity එක නැති වෙලා යනවා. ඒක නිසා මේ ඒක negative point එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන් ඔයාගේ PhD application එක. ඒක නිසා හැම වෙලාවෙම අපි graduate වුණාට පස්සේ academic හරි research field පැත්ත තියෙන තැනක වැඩ කරන්න කියලා තමයි මම recommend කරන්නේ. ඊට පස්සේ අපි දන්නා PhD applications වල deadline එකක් තියෙනවා. හැබැයි deadline එක ලඟ වෙනකන් කවදාවත් ඉන්න එපා. ඊට කලින් පුළුවන් තරම් දාන්න PhD application එක submit කරන්න. ඒ වගේම Channa sir කිව්වා වගේ USA වලත් අර professors ලට emails යවන්න. ඔයාගේ research interest එකක් කැමති පැත්තක් condensed matter වෙන්න පුළුවන්, high energy particle physics වෙන්න පුළුවන්, astronomy වෙන්න පුළුවන්, astrophysics වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ පැත්තේ කවුරු හරි ඔයාගේ research interest එකත් එක්ක align වෙන professor කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවනේ ඒ professorට email එකක් යවන්න අර චනස කිව්ව points එකතු කරලා ඒ කියන්නේ එයා ගැන ඔයා පොඩක් ස්ටඩි කරන්න ඕනේ යවන්න ඉස්සෙල්ලා ඒ වගේම catchy මේ subject එකක් තියෙනවනේ email එකේ ඒ වගේම අර කිව්වා වගේ ඔයා ගැන පොඩි introduction එකක් ඔයාගේ research එක ගැන research කරපු areas ගැන එක introduction එකක් එහෙම කියලා ඔයා ලියන්න පුළුවන් I'm really interested in your research work. So is there any opportunity for me to take me as a PhD student? එහෙම කියන්නේ ඒකත් ලියන එකක් විදිහක් තියෙනවා. ඒවට සාමාන්‍යයෙන් කියන්නේ cover letters කියලා. ඒ professors-ට cover letters යවන්න. දැන් ඕගොල්ලන් application එකේ SOP එක ලියනකොට SOP එකේ ලියන්න පුළුවන් අපේ I would like to work with this professor කියලා. ඒ professor-ටත් ඕගොල්ලන් submit කරාට පස්සේ application එක submit කරන්නත් ඉලා කලින් වුණත් කමන්නේ submit කරාට පස්සේ හරිය ඒ professor-ට emails යවන්න. ඒගොල්ලන් සමහර විට reply නොකර ඉන්න පුළුවන්. But I recommend that you should email. Okay. ඒ වගේම තමයි මගේ අත්දැකීමෙන් මම ඩෙඩ්ලයින් පහුවෙලා කියන්නේ ඇප්ලිකේෂන් ඩෙඩ්ලයින් පහුවෙලත් මම වෙන යුනිවර්සිටි එකකට ප්‍රොෆෙසර් කෙනෙක්ට මම ඊමේල් කරා and fortunately he replied me and asked me to submit the application even though the deadline has passed. So ඕගලන්ටත් ඒ වගේ opportunity එකක් එන්න පුළුවන්. ඕගලන්ගේ academic achievements හොඳයි නම් හොඳට research work එක කරලා තියෙනවා නම් and a professor කැමති නම් ඔයාව ගන්න even though the deadline is passed you will be able to secure PhD offer letter. So මමත් කියන්නේ ඕගලා පුළුවන් තරම් කියන්නේ මම කරපු එකෙන් 20කට යවුවා. 20න් එකකට විතරයි reply එකක් ආවේ. ඒක නිසා ඕගලා චන්ද සර් කිව්වා වගේ 100කට 200කට පුළුවන් තරම් යවන්න. ඕගලන්ගේ opportunity එක වැඩි කරගන්න. එතකොට අපි බලමු application එක submit කරාට පස්සේ මොනවද වෙන්නේ කියලා. මම ඉස්සෙල්ලා කිව්වා වගේ submit කරාට පස්සේ application එක පුළුවන් තරම් අර professors-ලාට පුළුවන් තරම් emails යවන්න deadline pass වුණා. and මේ ඔයාගේ application එක ඒගොල්ලන් submit කරාට පස්සේ ඒගොල්ලන් review කරනවා. review කරාට පස්සේ සමහර universities තියෙනවා ඔයාව interview කරන්න පුළුවන්. සමහර universities තියෙනවා ඔයාව interview කරන්නේ කෙලින්ම reject the accept the කියලා letter එක එවනවා. So interviews තියෙනවා නම් basically there are two kind of interviews. එකක් තමයි එක interview જાතියක් තමයි graduation committee එකේ. නැත්තම් ඔයා අර SOP එකේ කිව්ව professor කැමති කරන්න කැමති කිව්ව professor ඇවිල්ලා ඔයාව interview කරන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට ඒකේ සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අහන්නේ ඔයාගේ ඔයායි මේ යුනිවර්සිටි එකට ඇප්ලයි කරේ ඔයා කරපු රිසර්ච් එක මොකද්ද? ඒ රිසර්ච් එකට අදාළ පොඩි ප්‍රශ්න අහන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේ දේවල් තමයි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් එක මිනිත්තු 10ත් 15ත් අතර තමයි යන්නේ. තව ටයිප් ඉන්ටර්විව් එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒකේ කරන්නේ ඔයාගේ ඉංග්‍රීසි ලැන්ග්වේජ් ස්කිල් එක හොඳට තියෙනවද කියලා. මේක නම් ඉන්ෆෝමල් ඉන්ටර්විව් එකක්. ඒක සාමාන්‍යයෙන් මිනිත්තු 10ත් 20ත් අතර යන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක මේ ඇකඩමික්ස් නෙමෙයි ඒකේ කතා කරන්නේ. ඒක නිකන් casual talks තමයි කතා කරන්නේ. ඕන ටොපික් එකක්. so ඒගොල්ලන් බලන්නේ ඔයාට හොඳට ඉංග්‍රීසි ලැන්ග්වේජ් ස්කිල් එක තියෙනවද කියලා විතරයි. ඊට පස්සේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ සබ්මිට් කරා පස්සේ සාමාන්‍යයෙන් fall intake එකේදී decisions එන්න පටන් ගන්නවා February 1st week එකේ ඉඳන්. ඒක depends වෙනවා university එකයි ඔයාගේ qualification එකයි අතර. ඔයා first round එකේම ඔයා top list එකේ ඉන්නවා නම් ඔයාට සාමාන්‍යයෙන් එන්න පුළුවන් first week එකේම February. and February ඉඳන් April වෙනකන් ඔයගලන්ට decisions letters එන්න පුළුවන්. මම ඒ කියන්නේ decision letters එන timeline එක හරියටම දන්නේ නැහැ. සමහර විට අක්කලා අයියලා දන්නේ නැති. මොකද මට තාම අත්දැකීම නැහැ ඒක ගැන. ඒක නිසා මේ procedure එක තමයි අපේ PhD USA වලට apply කරනවා නම් තියෙන්නේ. එතකොට ඕගලන් ගොඩක් consider කරන්න ඕනේ. ඕගලන්ගේ GPA එක හොඳට maintain කරන්න ඕනේ. ඒ වගේම GPA එක maintain කරන්න ඕනේ. ඒ වගේම හොඳ research experience එකක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ. හැම වෙලාවෙම ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ supervisors එක්ක good communication එකක් තියාගෙන ඉන්න ඕනේ. ඒ වගේම ඔයගොල්ලන් IELTS ටිකක් කලින් කරගෙන තියාගෙන ඉන්න. ඊළඟට කරන් තියෙන්නේ පුළුවන් තරම් emails යවන්න. ඊට පස්සේ application fee waivers request කරන්න application submit කරන කාලේ හැබැයි එක දෙයක් තියෙනවා අපේ සමහර universities තියෙනවා international students ලාට application fee waivers request කරන්න බෑ කියලා කෙලින්ම. එහෙම තිබ්බොත් ඕගලන්ට අනිවාර්යෙන් ඒ ගාණ ගෙවන්න වෙනවා. ඔයාට ඒ university එකට යන්නම ඕනේ නම්. හැබැයි there are a lot of university that will give fee waivers for international students as well. So ඔයගලන්ට තඹ සතයක්වත් වියදම් නොකර applications යවන්න පුළුවන්. ඊට පස්සේ ඔයගලන් තේරුනොත් ඔයගලන්ට අර visa process එකයි ඒ ටිකට තමයි සල්ලි යන්නේ. අපිට අර ඉගෙන යුනිවර්සිටි ගිහිලා ඉගෙන ගන්න ඒවට කිසිම මම හිතන්නේ සල්ලි වියදම් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒක ගැන අවියලක් කළා ඒ ගැන කතා කරා මොකද ඒගොල්ලන්ට ගොඩක් එක්ස්පීරියන්ස් තියෙන නිසා ඒ ටික තමයි තියෙන්නේ. ඒ වගේම ඔයගොල්ලෝ සම ඉන්ටර්න්ෂිප්ස් වලට ඇප්ලයි කරන්න CERN වෙන්න ඕනේ අනිත් ඒවාටත් ඇප්ලයි කරන්න හොඳ එක්ස්පීරියන්ස් එකක් ගන්න. එතකොට චන්න සර් ගියා වගේ මමත් සම ඉන්ටර්න්ෂිප් එකට පාටිසිපේට් වුණා ගිය අවුරුද්දේ. එතකොට මේ එක්ස්පීරියන්ස් කරපේව මේ තමයි තියෙන්නේ. මේ ෆොටෝ එකේ ඉන්නේ ස්විට්සර්ලන්ඩ් වල අපේ ලංකාවේ කට්ටිය. එතකොට මෙතන 5 දෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා. ලංකාවේ 5 දෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා PhD එක කරන CERN එකේ. එතකොට මෙතන ඉන්නේ නිමන්ත අයියා. එතකොට නිමන්ත අයියා අපේ ෆිසික්ස් ඩිපාර්ට්මන්ට් එකේ ග්‍රැජුවේට් වුණ එක්කෙනෙක්. So මේගොල්ලන්නුත් අපි ඕගොල්ලන් හිටපු තැන ඉඳන්ම අපු ඒගොල්ලන් තමයි. මේගොල්ලන්ටත් ඒ වගේ තැනකට යන්න පුළුවන් නම් එහෙනම් ඕගොල්ලන්ටත් පුළුවන් ඒ වගේ තැනකට යන්න. ඕගොල්ලන් වගේම හිටපු ළමයි තමයි. ඒගොල්ලන් දැන් PhD කරනවා. ඒක නිසා ඕගොල්ලන්ටත් යන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ ටික තමයි දැන් තියෙන්නේ. So I wish you good luck with your studies. If you have any questions, you can come and meet me because I'm in the physics department. So feel free to talk with me if you have any questions. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nimna Peiris. And next, join me in giving a warm welcome to Mr. Lakshitha Perera, whom I will now introduce. Dr. Lakshitha Perera graduated in 2016 from the University of Colombo with a BSc Special Degree in Computational Chemistry, First Class Honours, and as the top of his class. Following that, he served as a temporary lecturer in the Department of Chemistry, University of Colombo during the period of 2016 and 2017. Then, starting in fall 2017, he joined the University of Florida to pursue his graduate studies and completed his PhD in chemistry in fall 2022. He is currently working as a postdoctoral research fellow in the Division of Genetic Medicine at the College of Medicine in the Vanderbilt University Medical Center. Dr. Lakshitha Perera, over to you.
Thank you very much, Ranjani. So unfortunately, I don't have a presentation because of the time I was invited, so I didn't have the time to put up a presentation, but I'm going to talk about a few of the points that some of them were already covered, but I'm going to elaborate on that. So basing on the introduction you received, you know that my specialty is in chemistry. So I did my, so to wind up a little bit behind that, I did my A-levels in mathematics, combined mathematics. I went into University of Colombo. I did my undergraduates in computational chemistry, and I have never done any biology in my life until my 4th year in undergrads. However, I ended up doing a research program, in a protein system. Then in my PhD, which I started in fall 2017 at University of Florida, I did protein engineering, where I was studying proteins attached to polymers and how they behave. And then currently I am in the Division of Genetic Medicine in the Med School of Vanderbilt University. So with that, what I want to share is something that I often see in students who are applying from Sri Lanka to graduate programs in the United States or in any other countries, that they tend to stick only to applying to the departments. Like if I'm coming from chemistry, I only apply to chemistry. Or if you're coming from physics, you only apply to physics. You don't necessarily have to do that. You can look into other avenues, other departments, and see if there is any research program that interests you, and you can go for it. I started from not doing any biology at all, and now today I'm working with world-class scientists on genetic medicine, right? So you can actually expand your horizons. If you are a chemistry student, I would also recommend you to look into, for example, chemical engineering divisions and see if there is a PhD program that is available, which will sort of expand your scope of application. Then with that, I want to also share that I applied to 10 universities in the United States. And when I was picking my universities, what I did was I actually selected universities at a range of ranking. So I wanted to have some universities that I knew I would get an offer from, which can depend on your interest and also the ranking scale that you want to select. I selected from the first 100. And then I selected some in the first 20, and then another, like, about 3 in the first 20, another 4 in the 20 to, let's say, 50, and then another 3 from the latter. That way I knew that, okay, the latter I will get some offer. So I had some breathing room, but I was successful in landing offers from 8 of those, where I did not receive an offer from one university, and I never heard back from another, which is actually, ironically, Vanderbilt University. I never heard back from them, but here I am. And to give my experience as to my involvement. So as I was a graduate student, I was also heavily involved in the department in student as a student representative in many levels. And I was fortunate to actually oversee the physical chemistry side of the application process as the physical chemistry representative. So I got actually a lot of inside information from these recruiting committees, which I'm going to sort of share with you. But if you also have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm going to drop my email address at the end of this this talk in the chat. So one very important aspect when you're applying for a PhD in the United States, as Nimna has mentioned as well, is the SOP. The context of the SOP might be different based on your discipline. So in chemistry, SOP makes the biggest difference. In the SOP, you need to first introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your background, what you have done, and what is your experience, what is your education. Then after that, you need to tell why you are interested in doing a PhD and why you are interested in that particular university. Then you need to use the qualifications that you previously told about to kind of connect to those interests. So that will be your first 1 to 2 paragraphs of the SOP. And most of the time, remember, in any graduate program, they receive hundreds of applications. And these committees usually read this SOP, the first 2 paragraphs. And if they feel like, okay, this person is the one, they're going to pick them. However, a lot of students also get dropped at that level, unfortunately, because they don't sort of introduce themselves either well. And culturally, Sri Lankans tend to be very docile. I would say we tend to not undervalue ourselves. You shouldn't do that. Our students are very talented. You should trust yourselves. You guys are really good, and you should really sell yourself over there. And then after those 2 paragraphs, you can talk about your research experience and also what you want to do. I personally have never written a or mention in my SOP that I wanted to work with a particular faculty member, unless the department or the university specifically requests me that I have to do that. I avoided that for a particular reason, and I think in chemistry it's discouraged to do that as well, because once you do that, you really have to kind of work with them. Whereas once you start your graduate program, or rather you have to start working with them initially. Whereas in the graduate program, when you enter it, you really start to see more opportunities with other people that you maybe didn't know or didn't see. So in my experience, it's rather discouraged to do that. And I've never written to any of the professors either. And if you are really doing well, and if your SOP is strong, and if your recommendations are strong, they are probably going to reach out to you most of the time as well. But of course, there are certain situations where you might have to write to them, and I will talk to you about them as I go. But in general, if you are confident about your application, and it does, so this confidence doesn't really mean that you need to have the top GPA or the class, in my opinion. Again, it's really about the SOP and how you sell it. I've seen students with first class degrees not getting offers in some really good universities, whereas people with lower classes and lower GPAs really actually landing offers in these universities, including my own, which is the University of Florida, which is, by the way, is the 5th best public university in the United States. Regarding the funding, of course, I think the chemistry degree programs generally is known to have better funding. They are really usually bigger departments in most of the universities in the United States, and you probably will get a scholarship. Probably mean 99% of the time you get your stipend, which is the living wage. So they pay you to pay for your housing, food, and everything, and you get a tuition waiver. And most of the universities provide that. And if not, of course, you have the choice to pay and go. But I would rather say, look for more universities, more programs where you really can find that, because it's really expensive if you want to fund yourself. For PhDs, yeah, this is applicable. You get funding. For master's programs, it's about 50-50. Some universities fund masters. University of Florida does, but some other universities don't. So you can probably, I would recommend you to go for a PhD, apply for a PhD even if you want to do a master's, and you really might actually continue if you'd like, and you can always wrap up at the master's level, but you secure your funding at that way. The application process, I'd recommend you to start at least about 64 months, the least, right? There's a lot of material you need to gather. And most of the time, the documents you need to gather from, various divisions or departments within Sri Lanka sometimes takes time. So the first thing we need to do is, do your studies well, do your degree well as much as you can, and gather your research experience. Again, for chemistry programs, a lot of universities in the United States are dropping the GRE and TOEFL requirements. That's the current trend, because they've seen that this course sometimes does not actually serve the purpose of ranking students well. So they really rather base their decision basing on the SOP and the recommendation letters. So you can also either do TOEFL or IELTS. In IELTS, a general score is about 7. In TOEFL, they recommend 22 at least for each tier, but an overall score of 20. I don't know how that works, but but that's what they say usually on websites. Especially in, so another thing that you need to do when you are looking at graduate application processes, you need to read also the FAQs. And also, some of these programs do have specific instructions for students from different countries. For an example, at University of Florida again, they don't require GRE or TOEFL, right? TOEFL for Sri Lankan students, because they consider our English to be quite good compared to many other countries. You'll be fascinated to know that India, Pakistan, and even some countries in Europe, such as France and Germany, those students are required to present their TOEFL scores, whereas the Sri Lankan students don't. And I've seen this in many other universities as well. So before jumping the guns, do your research, you know, maybe in your last semester in the 4th year. Look into those universities and see if you really have to do that exam and whether you really have to spend that money, right? Especially given the financial situation right now. You might not need it to do those exams. And I'm again talking about chemistry programs mainly. And then few other questions that I often get. I've been doing this for almost 6 years now, helping students with 100% success rate, which I'm proud of. I helped many students to get offers, and everyone landed some offer somewhere. Two big questions are, do I need publications to apply? I never had publications by the time I applied. All of my publications and conferences came up afterwards. But you need to mention what you have done and that it will produce something good in your SOP if you think that it will, you know, become a publication. But it is not necessary again in chemistry. And the other thing is, do I really need a first class or a second upper to get a PhD? Absolutely not. If you go to your websites, you will see they say in chemistry programs, it's the minimum recommended in most of the universities is 3, right? But I've been able to help one student who didn't have a class to get an offer, right? So it really depends on you having the right connections in the universities too. Know that there is a huge Sri Lankan student community here in the United States, and as well as other countries. They might not be from your university. They might be from University of Colombo, University of Jaffna, University of whatever, right? But we are still Sri Lankans. Reach out to them and ask for help. There are, and you know, I'm pretty sure most of you guys are on social media. There are groups on Facebook, which is dedicated to help students, and there are many different people over there helping. So join those and get the help you need. Don't hold back. The worst case scenario that can happen is someone might say, no, I cannot help, right? So what? It's better to ask than, like, you know, not ask and miss the opportunity. So always reach out. My statement is 2 parts, right? I'm not discouraging you. Oh, hey, you know, you don't have to do your degree, but absolutely not. You need to. It will. The better you do in your program, the better the opportunities are. You can go to better universities, better programs. You can get offers from many different universities, and then you have a plate of offers to pick from, right? If you didn't do well, of course, the amount of offers that you're going to get is going to be lesser. But at the same time, I don't want you to be discouraged, thinking, hey, I have a second lower. That means I might not be able to do a PhD. That's not true. We all have life happening, right? And people here knows that life happens, and it can happen in the PhD too, right? So I would definitely encourage you to first do well in your undergrads. But if you have something happening in your undergrads and, you know, you think, okay, you know, I know this, I messed up, but I want to do a PhD, still try. And if you really need help, do reach out. There are people who would like to help, and you still can. My class had the highest number of first classes in the history of the Department of Chemistry at the time. 27 first classes out of 70 chemistry majoring students. But we had a lot of second uppers and second lowers too, and all of them. So out of this 70, about 56 landed PhDs in United States. So that's entirely possible. Again, Nimna highlighted this, whether you need to apply for fall or spring. Definitely fall. Intakes are almost always bigger. What is usually considered the spring intake is when, in fall, they make, let's say, 100 or 50 offers. Some people reject them at the very end, and then they don't have anybody to take in just because the people they selected reject the offer. And then the other students on the list are already having offers from somewhere else. But in that case, they offer new positions in spring. But this is very rare in some universities. So I would definitely tell you to apply for fall. So plan ahead. Fall application starts around September, October, and it closes around December, January. And then the offer starts from February to, it goes till, I think, the 15th of April for most of the universities. And as, again, Nimna said this very correctly, and I resonate with her, that you should not wait till the end of the deadline. You should apply ahead of time. And sometimes, even before the deadlines close, the selection committees, if they see your application, you might get an offer. So you should definitely plan ahead and do your exams ahead of time. I too did GRE TOEFL just like Nimna did when I was a TA, a temporary lecturer. So it wasn't fun. You should definitely do, if possible, plan ahead of time and do it. With regards to the work experience, yes, it's advantageous again to have that, but usually our batches are bigger than the demo positions that are available. So you can definitely go for companies like Bureau Veritas or somewhere else where you can do work which is related to your academics. But if life hits and you have to work in a bank, do it, but don't say it in your SOP. That actually counts as academic discontinuity, which is disadvantageous to you. So don't highlight that. If somebody asks, what did you do in this period? You can say that, you volunteered or something. So you brush up on some other skills. You can do a lot of online courses to gather certificates. So you can do that. And I saw that in the suggested question, one of the questions is, how should I select these universities, right? We all say that, okay, I apply to 10, I apply to 20. How should I select a university once I get an offer? Is it basing on funding or scholarship or the ranking? I say neither. In the case, I always say, see if the research program aligns with what you want to do. And if that's your best match, go for that university. Of course, the university ranking is very important as you progress because that sets your baseline and you progress from there. But it also depends on where you are going to end up. In the United States, the ranking is quite important. As you hire also, they do consider that. But then again, if your planning is to go back, most of the time, in my experience, they really don't mind the ranking as much. So it really depends. But I would always say ranking is not what you're going to work with. It's the research and the professors that you're going to work with. So be considerate about that when you're picking your program. Few other things that were not included in the question list that I received, I thought would be beneficial is, so most of y'all, are undergraduates, but most of y'all might be having a partner at the end of the time, and will be interested in applying together, which I did. Me and my wife both were students, and we both wanted to apply together for PhDs. And how to tackle that. So I want to say that you should definitely apply to the same universities. A lot of people say, like, apply in the same state. You can, travel in between, which you can do, but these states are at least 3 or 4 times Sri Lanka. So imagine traveling from one end to the other of Sri Lanka just to see your wife every day, right? So apply to each university. So the strategy I followed, out of the 10 universities I applied, we both got offers in 5 of those. The strategy I always followed is, if me or she gets an offer, we immediately, yeah, I see a question. I will get back to you as soon as possible. Give me 1 second. So as soon as you get your offer, one person gets the offer, right to the graduate coordinator. They are your point of contact. Tell them, if you are getting the offer ahead of time, that means the department also really wants you. So value on that, weigh on that, and just say, hey, I'd really like to come to your program, but what about this person, right? I really want to do the PhD together. Would you consider them? And sometimes, one person gets the offer, the other person gets rejected. You can still write to them and ask them if they want to reconsider. I have many success stories from Sri Lankan students, and not just Sri Lankan students. I've been helping Indian, Nepali, and a few other countries' students as well in the past few years. So it really does help. And if you are really considering to apply with your spouses, do so in the same universities. Even if you are from different departments, they sometimes have connections, right? So that really can be done again. Again, as I mentioned in the very first part of my talk, don't just get restricted to your specialty, like, department. Like, if you're from physics, don't just apply to physics. You might want to see material science, chemical engineering, divisions, to see what kind of research programs are there, and you can apply those. And sometimes those programs align well with our research interest than our own departments. The reason for that actually is the Sri Lankan degree programs are very diverse. They cover the broad aspects of everything. So you really have the flexibility of, going into these different avenues. For chemistry, of course, go to chemistry, chemical engineering, material science, and people do get offers from that. So don't just restrict yourself to one department, and that really opens up all your possibilities to apply, right? Remember, your point of contact is the graduate coordinator. Their job is to coordinate that, and don't hesitate to write to them. I've written many emails back and forth getting clarification, and you should. And if you are really good with your application, and once you create your application packet, do get feedback from few people. Get your SOP checked by a couple of professors, or if that's too much of a hassle, go for your seniors. Just do it from one person, get it done from a couple of people, right? And then do that for your CV as well, and get the recommendation. About the recommendation, you need to have a recommendation in chemistry at least from your research supervisor. And the other two can be academic, lecturers or professors. Or in the case you have worked somewhere, you can also get recommendations from somebody like a supervisor in your company, which is still fine. Because my wife is not working in the academia at the time, and she was in BV, Bureau Veritas, and she got one recommendation from her supervisor. So that works as well. So that's about what I want to cover from the questions I received. I'm sorry again, I did not have the opportunity to put up a presentation, but as always, feel free to reach out. I almost always reply back and try to help any student from Sri Lanka, irrespective of race, color, religion, or area, without any discrimination to, whether what university you are from, it doesn't matter. You all are Sri Lankans. Just make sure to reach out anytime with any questions. I try to help my best. And good luck. I see a couple of questions. I will respond to them directly, but feel free to drop me an email. I'm going to drop my email address in the chat. Good luck, everyone. And thank you very much for the organizers for inviting me.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lakshitha Perera, for your time, knowledge, and experience. We are truly grateful for you. And next, as the next guest speakers of the day, it's my pleasure to introduce Ms. Nalini Kaluarachchi and Ms. Shanika Gamage to you. Ms. Nalini Kaluarachchi. She works as a research assistant at the RIT Center of Photovoltaic Innovation and Commercialization in the Department of Physics at the University of Toledo, USA. Ms. Shanika Gamage, she works as a graduate assistant in the University of Toledo's Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry. Ms. Nalini Kaluarachchi and Ms. Shanika Gamage, over to you.
Thank you very much. And I think you can hear us.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. First of all, please excuse for my voice. I'm not feeling well. It's the climate of Ohio. And basically, I think we have a very good knowledge of how to apply now, because I totally agree with Nimna and Lakshitha, what they said. So basically, I'm not going to repeat these things. So me and Shanika will be focusing on our university, and our experience in USA. So when you enroll, what would be the experience? So basically, we'll talk in Sinhala as well for a better understand. Okay. මං කැමති මුලින්ම අපේ යුනිවර්සිටි එක ඉන්ට්‍රොඩියුස් කරලා දෙන්න. University of Toledo. ගොඩක් කතා අහපු හින්දා I like to start my talk with a video so you can see how the environment and how this US universities looks like. Okay, let me share one video.
This is us. This is the University of Toledo. The University of Toledo thrives on its vibrant, diverse family of engaging innovators, researchers, and thought leaders. This university is home to physicians, artists, engineers, scholars, and students solving problems and charting new waters. With more than 20,000 students and nearly 7,000 faculty and staff, UT is one of the largest employers in Northwest Ohio. Together, we work hard each and every day to dig in and discover solutions to make life better. Together, we empower our close-knit community to reach for the stars, whether it be in the research lab, on stage, or in the sports arena. No matter what you want to study, you can find it here. UT offers more than 250 fields of study in 13 colleges. And you can continue your education and research right here at UT to earn a master's degree, a law degree, a medical degree, or a PhD. Our astronomy and astrophysics program is one of the best in the nation. As our team continues unraveling the mysteries of the universe, UT was selected to become the 41st member of AURA, the prestigious Association of Universities for Research in Astronomy. The university revolutionized medical training when we built the 3-story, 65,000 square foot simulation center on our health science campus. By training different healthcare-related professions together and using state-of-the-art technology, simulations offer hands-on integrated learning for students to become nurses, surgeons, physician's assistants, and other health professionals. Inside the College of Business and Innovation, our sales program is ranked in the top 5% in the nation. Future UT grads access financial data from the world's stock exchanges through state-of-the-art Bloomberg terminals. The University of Toledo has a unique partnership with the Toledo Museum of Art, home to 30,000 works of art. The collection ranks among the finest in the world. Undergraduate students curate an exhibition inside a gallery each year. University of Toledo water quality researchers at the Lake Erie Center are on the front lines of the effort to fight algal bloom toxins, invasive species, and pollution in the Great Lakes. Scientists and students work to protect the public drinking water supply for the greater Toledo area. The world is your classroom at the University of Toledo. With a wide range of study abroad opportunities to explore and new cultures to experience, a beautiful campus with lots of green space plus vibrant residence life will always welcome you home. This is where passion ignites. This is how we prepare students for real-world success. This is us, the University of Toledo. Come join us.
Okay, මම එක පෙන්නුවා ඇත්තටම ඔයාලා natural sciences වලින් පිට කවුරු හරි ඉන්නවා නම් මේ audience එකේ යාළුවටත් opportunities තියෙනවා ඕනම discipline එකක් තියෙනවා කියන එක කියන්න මම ගැන introduction එකක් කරොත් මම Nalini Kaluarachchi මම graduate වෙන්නේ Jawatanapura Physics Department again 2017 වල ඒ වගේම මම University of Toledo වලට enroll වෙන්නේ 2019 fall නැත්නම් August intake එක මම කිව්වා වගේ ඒක තමයි අපි සාමාන්‍ය apply කරන intake එක එතකොට මම අවුරුදු දෙකක gap එකක් තියෙනවා මගේ මම 2017 graduate වෙලා 2019 තමයි US එන්නේ එතකොට ඒ කාලය ඇතුළත මම work කරා assistant lecturer කෙනෙක් විදිහට ඒ වගේම අන්තිමට මාස 6ක් temporary lecturer කෙනෙක් විදිහට අපේ physics department එකේ ජයවර්ධනපුර ඒ කාලය ඇතුළත තමයි මම apply කරේ දැන්ට මම කරන්නේ මොකක්ද කියලා කතා කරොත් University of Toledo physics department එකේ තියෙන research lab එක research complex එක තමයි Right Center for Photovoltaics Innovations and Commercialization PVIC ඒක නේ ඉස්සරහට විස්තර කියන්න මොකක්ද මේ කියලා එහෙනම් තමයි මගේ කතාව මම Shanika අක්කයි දෙන්නම combined presentation එකක් කරන්නේ Shanika අක්කා introduce කරයි එයා ගැන
Hello everyone. So I'm Shanika Gamage. Currently I'm working as a research assistant in University of Toledo, Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry. So let's see the Department of Physics first, and then we'll move on to the Department of Chemistry.
Okay. I will explain about the Department of Physics and Astronomy first. And our University of Toledo, located in Ohio state, US. Toledo city Toledo city නිර්මාණය වෙන්නේ University of Toledo එක වටා ඒ වගේම Ohio කියන්නේ ඇත්තටම name කරන්නේ birthplace of aviation in the honor of Wright brothers because they are Ohioans. So you will see this Wright word particularly throughout my presentation in the Department of Physics කතා කරොත් මොනවද අපේ department එකෙන් offer වෙන PhD කියලා මම කතා කරන්න. So you have different categories which you can apply for a PhD, astrophysics and astronomy, atomic physics, biophysics and medical physics, condensed matter, material sciences and photovoltaics, photonics and nonlinear optics. කියන මේ ඕනම category එකකින් ඔයාලට PhD එකක් ගන්න පුළුවන් University of Toledo Department of Physics හරහා. මම ස්පෙෂලි කතා කරනවා මේ astrophysics and astronomy කියන කැටගරි එක සහ මම වැඩ කරන්නේ condensed matter material sciences and photovoltaics කියන කැටගරි එකේ. ඔයාලා බැලුවොත් අපේ department website එකට ඇවිල්ලා department highlights විදිහට තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ catchy things. ඇයි department එක මෙච්චර important කියන එක. ඔයාලට පේනවා right center for photovoltaics PVIC එක ඇර අනිත් තියෙන ඔක්කොම options තියෙන්නේ astrophysics astronomy වලට විශේෂයෙන්ම planetarium එක ඔයාලට මගේ background එකෙන් පේන තියෙන්නේ ඒ planetarium එක ඒකින් ඔයාලට astrophysics වලට interest එකක් තියෙනවා නම් University of Toledo කියන්නේ ගොඩක් හොඳ opportunity එකක්. ගොඩක් ෆීල්ඩ් එකේ නමක් තියෙන ලොකු වැඩක් කරන ඩිපාර්ට්මන්ට් එකක්. මම වැඩිපුර කතා කරන්නම් අපේ PVIC එක එහෙම නැත්නම් condensed matter material science and photovoltaics category එකත් එක්ක මම දැන්ට 4th year graduate student කෙනෙක්. අපි ගොඩක් PVIC නැත්නම් condensed matter photovoltaics වල කරන්නේ ගොඩක් industry එකත් එක්ක වැඩ කරනවා. I'll go in detail later. මේ opportunities අතන PhD විතරක් නෙමෙයි ඔයාලට masters opportunities උත් තියෙනවා. ඔයාලට master එකකට ඕන නම් ඒත් apply කරන්න පුළුවන්. එන්න ඇවිත් බලන්න web page එක ඕනම details very descriptive details තියෙනවා. apply කරන්න කොහොමද මේ හැමදේම ඒත් එක්කම බලමු especially University of Toledo Department of Physics requirements මොනවද ඔයාලා physics degree එකට එනවනම් සාමාන්‍ය these are common actually for every university I hope. මේ තමයි University of Toledo Department of Physics and Astronomy requirements. ඔයාලට 4 year degree එකක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ related field එක. ඒ කියන්නේ credit 90ක් complete වෙන්න ඕනේ ඔයාලා apply කරනවා නම්. ඔයාලට special degree එකක් හරි extended degree එකක් හරි නෙමෙයි නම් තියෙන්නේ. general degree එකක් නම් general degree plus masters accept කරනවා. ඒ හින්දා ඒක ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. ඒ වගේම මේ related field කිව්වහම ලක්ෂිත කිව්වා වගේම not only physics ඔයාලා වෙන field එකක වුණත් සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපේ ඉන්නවා chemical engineers ලා department of physics එකේ PhD එක ගන්න අය. ඒ හින්දා ඔයාලා වෙන field එකක වුණත් ඔයාලට apply කරන්න පුළුවන්. English requirement එකේ options විදිහට ගොඩක් options දීලා තියෙනවා University of Toledo වල. මම emphasize කරන්නේ TOEFL සහ IELTS මොකද මම familiar දෙකත් එක්ක. ඒ වගේම මෙන්න මේ කාරණේ it's very important මොකද ඔයාලා enroll වුණාම university PhD degree එකට කලින් කතා කරා වගේ ඔයාලට දෙනවා teaching assistantship එකක් හරි research assistantship එකක් හරි. එතකොට ඔයාලට සාමාන්‍ය මට ඉස්සෙල්ලාම හම්බුනේ teaching assistantship එක. මම අවුරුද්දක් teaching assistantship එකේ හිටියා. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි undergraduate students ලට labs කරනවා, සමහරට classes කරනවා. එතකොට මේ department highly ඔයාලගෙන් expect කරනවා ඔයාලගේ English fluency especially in speaking. ඒ හින්දා තමයි TOEFL IELTS මේ දෙකේම එයාලා ඉල්ලනවා especially speaking portion එකට සාමාන්‍ය band level එකට වඩා වැඩි mark එකක්. ඒක ඔයාලා ඔළුවේ තියාගන්න. ඔයාලා prepare වෙද්දී exam වලට අනිවාර්යෙන් ඕනේ overall result එකත් එක්ක speaking වලට මේ requirement එක achieve කරන්න ඕනේ. ඒ වගේම තව options තියෙනවා English test. ඔයාලා මගෙන් කීප දෙනෙක්ම ඇහුවා සමහර options ගැන. ඒවත් accept කරනවා. ඒ වගේම මට ගොඩක් කතා කරන්න ඕනේ මේ deadline එක ගැන. නිම්නා ලක්ෂිත කතා කරා වගේම මේ තියෙන්නේ physics and astronomy graduate program එකේ department deadline එක. එතකොට January 5th. මේක සාමාන්‍ය හැම අවුරුද්දෙම එහෙමයි. මේ තියෙන fall intake එකේ deadline එක. ඔයාලා ඇත්තටම කතා කරා වගේ කලින් you have to plan ahead. මොකද මේකට කල් යනවා. I know when you're doing demonstration hari නැත්නම් job එකක් කරන ගමන් ඔයාලා apply කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒතකොට this process take time. ඒ වගේම ඔයාලට කල් තියෙන්න ඕනේ. මොකද ඔයාලගේ official transcript එක යන්න ඕනේ ඔයාලගේ university එක හරහා. දැන් නම් මම දන්නේ after pandemic මේ කතාව පොඩ්ඩක් වෙනස් වෙලා කියලා කියනවා. මම ඒ කියන්නේ ඇත්තටම දන්නේ නැහැ. අපේ කාලේ අපේ transcript එක post වෙන්න ඕනේ university ජයවර්ධනපුර යුනිවර්සිටි එකෙන් තමයි post වෙන්න ඕනේ. දැන් ඔයාලගේ bachelor's degree එක තියෙන යුනිවර්සිටි එකෙන් තමයි transcript එක කෙලින්ම ඔයාලා apply කරන යුනිවර්සිටි එකට යන්නේ. ඒ වගේම ඔයාලගේ GRE, TOEFL කියන results උත් කෙලින්ම institute වලින් තමයි ඔයාලා apply කරන යුනිවර්සිටි එකට යන්නේ. ඒ වගේම මම පොඩ්ඩක් කතා කරන්න recommendation ගැන. මොකද SOP ගැන ලොකු හොඳ introduction එකක් in detail වලට හම්බුණා. SOP එක වගේම තමයි මම හිතනවා හරිම important recommendation letters. මොකද තවත් professor කෙනෙක් නැත්නම් තව lecturer කෙනෙක් senior lecturer කෙනෙක් ඔයාලා ගැන දරන මතය තමයි එකෙන් emphasize වෙන්නේ. එතකොට එයාලා student කෙනෙක් විදිහට ඔයාලා කොහොමද දකින්නේ කියන එක අනිත් යුනිවර්සිටි එකට ඔයාලා apply කරන යුනිවර්සිටි එකට ගොඩක් වැදගත්. ඒ වගේම මේ ඔයාලා deadline එකත් එක්ක වැඩ කරද්දී ගොඩක් වෙලාවට කල් දෙන්න මේ recommendation letters වලට. සමහර විට සතියක් විතර තියලා apply කරලා ඔයාලගේ lecturers ලට යවුවට එයාලට ඒක කරන්න අමාරුයි. ඒ හින්දා plan ahead ලස්සන plan කරන්න. ඔයාලගේ exams schedule කරගද්දී බලන්න ඔයාලා apply කරන්නේ කොයි කාලෙද. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් fall intake එකට ඔයාලා ඔක්තෝබර් නොවැම්බර් වෙද්දී apply කරන්න පටන් ගන්න ඕනි. එතකොට ඒ වෙද්දී ඔයාලගේ exams ඉවර කරලා තියන්න. දැනට University of Toledo graduate students page එකේවත් department page එකේවත් TOEFL GRE ඉල්ලන්නේ නැහැ. For the 2023 intake GRE waive කරලා තියෙනවා. But due to pandemic but මේක සමහරට 2024 intake එකට වෙනස් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ හින්දා ඔයාලා apply කරද්දී ටිකක් ඒ ගැන අවධානයෙන් ඉන්න. ටිකක් ඔයාලා websites වලට ගිහිල්ලා නිතරම බලන්න මේ requirements වෙනස් වෙලාද කියන එක. ඊට අමතරව මට කතා කරන්න ඕනේ මම වැඩ කරන මගේ research group එක සහ අපේ research ගැන. University of Toledo Department of Physics වල වෙනම තියෙනවා අපේ research lab එකක්, research complex එකක් ඇත්තටම Right Center for Photovoltaics Innovations and Commercialization අපි PVIC කියලා in short කියනවා. ඇත්තටම මෙතන වෙන්නේ ගොඩක් අපේ solar energy එක නැත්තම් solar cell එක වැඩ කරන research labs. මගේ professor Mike Heben මේ field එකේ ඇත්තටම ගොඩක් renowned person කෙනෙක්. ඒ වගේම අපේ group එක වගේම තව group 5ක් වැඩ කරනවා PVIC එකේ එක applications, solar applications, space solar applications, එක materials, engineering පැත්ත ගොඩක් දේවල්. ඇත්තටම මේක industry එකත් එක්ක directly work කරන lab complex එකක්. එතකොට ගොඩක් Toledo වල තමා First Solar කියන company එක photovoltaics වල leading company එක USA වල. එයාලගේ headquarters තියෙන්නේ head office තියෙන්නේ Toledo වල. එතකොට එයාලා ගොඩක් closely අපිත් එක්ක වැඩ කරනවා. එයාලගේ ගොඩක් projects අපිට කරනවා එයාලගේ research and development වලට help කරනවා එතකොට ඔයාලට industry එකත් එක්ක ලොකු exposure එකක් හම් වෙනවා PVIC එකේ වැඩ කරොත් මම මේ කියන්නේ ඔයාලට තියෙන opportunities USA වල මම ගා වීඩියෝ එකක් තියෙනවා PVIC එක ගැන so ඔයාලට idea එකක් ගන්න පුළුවන් මොකක්ද ඇත්තටම මේ research කරන්නේ කොහොමද මොකද්ද මේකේ අරමුණ ඒ කියන මම share කරන්නම් මේ වීඩියෝ එක Nadiak දෙන්න මේක අපි හදපු වීඩියෝ එකක් මේකේ කතා කරන්නේ මගේ ප්‍රොෆෙසර් මගේ රිසර්ච් ප්‍රොෆෙසර් මයික් හීබන් ඒ වගේම දැනට ප්‍රොෆෙසර් හීබන් කියන්නේ PVIC chairperson මේක අහද්දී ඔයාලට තේරෙයි මොනවද අපි කරන experiments මොනවද අපේ research අපි මොන වගේද ස්පෙෂලායිස් වෙන්නේ ඒ වගේම කොච්චර මේ ෆීල්ඩ් එකට ඉන්වෙස්ට්මන්ට්ස් තියෙනවද ඉන්වෙස්ට්මන්ට්ස් කියන්නේ අපිට ගොඩක් ෆන්ඩින්ග්ස් හම්බ වෙනවා ගොඩක් US government එක අනිත් companies ගොඩක් ඉන්වෙස්ට් කරන්න කැමති මේ photovoltaics field එකට මොකද ඉස්සරහට එන power crisis වලට solution එකක් විදිහට එතකොට fundings වැඩි කියන්නේ ඔයාලට හම්බ වෙන opportunities වැඩි එලා කැමති graduate students ලට opportunity එක දෙන්න ඒ හින්දා funds වැඩි කියන්නේ අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම offers වැඩි offers ගොඩක් හම්බෙන්න ඉඩ කඩ තියෙනවා බලමු අපි මේ වීඩියෝ එක
We here at the University of Toledo are working hard every day to make sure that your future energy needs are going to be met in a clean and sustainable way. So we have more than a 35-year history in the development of solar energy technologies. Toledo is a national and international hotbed for photovoltaics manufacturing and innovation. And it all traces back to the work that the great glass entrepreneur Harold McMaster did with colleagues in and around the Toledo region and also with faculty at the University of Toledo. So it's a combination of the advanced manufacturing heritage that is in this part of the world and the glass industry that is in Toledo's DNA that have helped us become a leader in solar module production. Our research area here is very broad. Anything that has to do with converting sunlight into electricity with a variety of different materials, like cadmium telluride materials, perovskite materials, copper, indium, gallium, sulfide, selenide materials, amorphous silicon, hydride materials. So the University of Toledo and the Wright Center is pretty unique nationally in that we work in a wide variety of photovoltaic technologies and we compare and contrast the benefits of each of them in terms of the cost effectiveness, the manufacturability, the efficiency, and the bankability of those various technologies. The Department of Energy recognized the importance of having a homegrown photovoltaic manufacturing capability in the US. So most photovoltaic technologies in the market these days are comprised of silicon. We don't have full control over the supply chain, and therefore we can't really manage our national energy security in this space. Secretary Granholm announced that a $20 million new program would be established focused on cadmium telluride. The Secretary of Energy, along with Representative Capter, were here just recently to announce that University of Toledo won that award and will lead that consortium. Cadmium telluride is a technology that we can fully own within the US and we can have, therefore, control over our full national energy security around that technology. The new $20 million program is from the Department of Energy, and it's focused on lowering costs for commercial deployment of solar photovoltaics on planet Earth. But we also have considerable support from the Air Force Research Labs, where they are interested in deploying solar technology in space, in satellites, and also potentially for large bases on the moon. And we really feel that we're at the start of a new renaissance or next generation of growth associated with photovoltaics. Working with local companies, we're trying to provide an educated workforce. We're innovating within the technical space, and we're making the case for clean solar electricity.
ඔයාලේ දැක්කේ within the video ඒ තමයි අපේ labs. එතකොට තියෙන equipment got facilities තියෙනවා. මේ තමයි physics department එකේ ඔයාලට තියෙන opportunities. මේ වගේම තව ගොඩක් universities වල මේ facilities තියෙනවා. සමහරට මේ field එක නොවෙන්න පුළුවන් ඒ වුණාට ගොඩක් ඔයාලට opportunities තියෙනවා. Ohio වලින් පිට ඔයාලා නිකන් search කරත් ඔයාලට ගොඩක් options පෙන්නනවා. ඊට පස්සේ would like Shanika to speak about the chemistry and biochemistry department of University of Toledo.
So, Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry ගැන කතා කරොත් ලක්ෂිත අයියා කිව්වා වගේම ඉස්සෙල්ලා මම ගැන චුට්ටක් කියන්නම්. මම 2017 තමයි graduate වුණේ from University of Colombo. මට තිබුණේ second class upper එකක්. So ඊට පස්සේ මම apply කරා universities 6කට. GRE TOEFL දෙකම කරලා universities 6කට apply කරා. එකකින් මට universities 3කින් offers ආවා. හැබැයි මට University of Toledo තමයි මුලින්ම offer එක එන්නේ. සහ මට ඒක accept කරන්න තිබුණා වේලාසනින්. ඒ නිසා මම University of Toledo accept කරලා මම මේ University of Toledo වල opportunity එක ගත්තා. ඊට පස්සේ දැනට මම ඉන්නේ 50 එකේ. about to graduate. තව පොඩි කාලයයි. තව පොඩි වැඩ ටිකක් තියෙනවා ඉවර කරන්න. ඊට පස්සේ මට graduate වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Admission requirements, University of Toledo වල admission requirements ගත්තොත් අනිත් තැන්වල අනිත් universities වල වගේම තමයි ලක්ෂිත අයියා ඊළඟට නිම්නයි දෙන්නම කතා කරා වගේ අනිත් universities වල වගේම තමයි University of Toledo වලත් 4-year degree එකක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ chemistry or biochemistry මේ department එකට. ඊට අමතරව ඔයාලට 3-year එකක් නම් තියෙන්නේ 3-year plus master degree එකක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ. තව මම මේකට පොඩි දෙයක් එකතු කරන්න කැමතියි. හිතන්නකෝ කෙනෙක්ට හිතන්න පුළුවන් අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම ස්පෙෂල් ඩිග්‍රී එකක් තියෙන්න ඕනේද කියලා USA වලට ඇප්ලයි කරන්න. USA PhD program එකකට ඇප්ලයි කරන්න. හැබැයි අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම ස්පෙෂල් එකක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. මොකද මම දන්නවා there are many people who doesn't have a special degree but they are still doing very well in here. ඒ කියන්නේ ඔයාලට ජෙනරල් ඩිග්‍රී එකක් නම් තියෙන්නේ 4-year ජෙනරල් ඩිග්‍රී එකක් නම් තියෙන්නේ අනිවාර්යෙන් ගොඩාක් යුනිවර්සිටිස් වල ඒකට රිසර්ච් කම්පොනන්ට් එකක් තියෙනවා. එතකොට ඔයාලට මෙහෙට ඇප්ලයි කරන්න පුළුවන් ඒ 4-year ජෙනරල් ඩිග්‍රී එකෙන්. ඒ වගේම 3-year ජෙනරල් ඩිග්‍රී එකක් නම් තියෙන්නේ මාස්ටර් එකක් කරලා ඇප්ලයි කරන්නත් පුළුවන්. ඊට අමතරව GPA එක ටිකක් අඩු වුණොත් GPA එක ටිකක් අඩුයි නම් subject GRE කරලා ඔයාලට ඔයාලගේ application strength එක වැඩි කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ කියන්නේ ඔයාලට subject GRE කරලා හොඳ grade එකක් ගන්න පුළුවන් නම් ඒකත් එක plus point එකක් ඔයාලගේ application එකට. ඒ වගේම අපේ department එකේ TOEFL score එක 80 තියෙන්න ඕන. With the speaking score එක 22ක් තියෙන්න ඕන. ඊළඟට IELTS ගත්තොත් IELTS වල overall 6.5 තියෙන්න ඕන. speaking වලටත් 6.5 එක. and මේකේ කියලා තියෙනවා GRE not required කියලා මේ last year එකට, but මෙතනින් එහාට years වලට මම හිතන්නේ GRE required, and ඔයාලට GRE කරලා GRE score එක දෙන්න පුළුවන් නම් ඒක plus point එකක් ඔයාලගේ application එකට. මම හිතනවා මේ period එකේ තමයි මේ GRE requirement එක ඔයාලා අයින් කරලා තිබුණේ. ඊළඟට application deadline එක ගත්තොත් January 15th වගේ තමයි application deadline එක fall intake එකට. අපේ fall intake එකයි spring intake එකටයි දෙකටම students ලව ගන්නවා, international students ලව. හැබැයි fall intake එක තමයි ගොඩක් international students ලා ඉන්නේ. spring intake එක ගත්තොත් එයාලට funds තියෙන විදිහට international students ලටත් offers දෙනවා. මේ spring එකෙත් international students ලා දෙන්නෙක් ආවා ශ්‍රී ලංකන් student කෙනෙකුත් එක්ක. ඔය ටික තමයි department එක ගැන specially කියන්න තියෙන්නේ. ඊළඟට research areas ගත්තොත් මම කරන්නේ carbohydrate chemistry. අපේ මගේ lab එකේ mainly අපි වැඩ කරන්නේ vaccine synthesis, ඒ කියන්නේ cancer vaccine synthesis. ඊට අමතරව carbohydrate based method developments. carbohydrate වලට අමතරව අපේ department එකේ analytical biochemistry, biochemistry ඊළඟට biomedical ඒ වගේ ගොඩාක් දේවල් අපේ department එකේ තියෙනවා. ඊළඟට මුළු university එකම ගත්තාම ශ්‍රී ලංකන් students ලා 35ක් විතර ඉන්නවා. මුළු university එකම ගත්තාම ඒ කියන්නේ chemistry department එකේ, physics department එකේ, maths department එකේ ඒ හැම department එකක්ම ගත්තාම මම කියන්න හිතුවේ ඇත්තටම මේ US වල අනිත් universities වගේම අපේ university එකේ වගේම අනිත් universities වලත් මේ වගේ opportunities ගොඩක් තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ chemistry physics විතරක් නෙමෙයි අනිත් fields වලටත් ගොඩක් opportunities තියෙනවා. ඒ නිසා හොයලා බලන්න අනිත් තමන්ට හදාගන්න පුළුවන් උපරිම විදිහට requirements හදාගෙන ඔයාලට apply කරන්න පුළුවන් මේ US වල ඕනම university එකකට. ඒ ටික තමයි. අනිත් දේවල් ගොඩාක් දේවල් ගැන ලක්ෂිතයි නිම්නයි දෙන්නම කතා කරපු හින්දා අපි හිතුවා ටිකක් විතර department එකයි university එකයි ගැන කතා කරලා කොහොමද මෙහි USA life එක ගැන චුට්ටක් විතර කතා කරන්නේ. මොකද කෙනෙක්ට හිතෙන්න පුළුවන් PhD එකකට USA ආවහම ඒක හරිම stressful, අපි parents ලාගෙන් ඈත් වෙලා ඉන්නේ, අපිට parents ලා miss වෙනවා. ඒ නිසා අපි අපි මෙහෙ තනි වෙලා වගේ ජීවත් වෙන්න, එහෙම දේවල් හිතෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ නිසා අපි හිතුවා කොහොමද USA වල PhD එකට අමතරව අපි මෙහෙ කොහොමද balance life එකක් ගෙනියන්නේ කියලා. ඒ නිසා අපි පොඩි දේවල් ටිකක් එකතු කරා. ඊට කලින් අපි කතා කරන්නම් graduate opportunities after the graduation වලට මොනවද opportunities තියෙන්නේ කියලා. මේ ඉන්නේ University of Toledo වලින් graduate වෙච්ච කීප දෙනෙක්. මේ වගේ තව ගොඩ දෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා. නලිනි.
විශේෂයෙන්ම මම කතා කරන්න ඕනේ ගීතික අයියා වගේම සුනෙත් අයියා. එයාලා මගේ research group එකෙන් graduate වෙච්ච අය. අද වෙද්දී USA වල ගොඩක් leading companies වල ලොකු positions වල ඉන්නවා. first solar කියන්නේ මම කලින් කිව්වා වගේම photovoltaics නැත්නම් solar industry එකේ USA වල leading company එක. ඒ වගේම Intel මම හිතනවා හැමෝම අහලා තියෙනවා Intel ගැන. මේ විතරක් නෙමෙයි මීට වඩා ලංකාවේ ගොඩ දෙනෙක් විශේෂයෙන්ම Intel එකේ තව ගොඩක් companies වල වැඩ කරනවා. ඒ වගේම academic field එකේ ඉන්නවා. ඒ හින්දා ඔයාලා graduate වුණාට පස්සේ ඔයාලට බයක් තියෙනවා නම් එහෙම වෙන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. opportunities තියෙනවා. හැබැයි ඔයාලගේ PhD එක හොඳටම කරන්න ඕනේ, මහන්සි වෙලා කැප වෙලා හරියට ඔයාලගේ research එක ඔයාලගේ supervisor ගේ guidance එක හොඳට කරන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට ඔයාලට හොඳ opportunities තියෙනවා USA වල සහ ඕනනම් ඔයාලට ඊට පස්සේ US වලින් පිට. ඒ වගේම මම මෙතනදි මතක් කරන්න ඕනේ අපේ ලිලානි මැඩම්ව. ලිලානි මැඩම් කියන්නේ University of Toledo Department of Physics වල PhD එක ගත්ත graduate කෙනෙක්. ඔයාලට examples ඔයාලගේ ඉස්සරහම තියෙනවා කොහොමද PhD අරගෙන life එක success කරගත්ත කට්ටිය ගැන තව experience examples ඕන්න. physics department එකේ ශානිකා අක්කා කියයි chemistry department එකේ opportunities.
මෙතන අපි එක්සාම්පල් එකකට අයියා කෙනෙකුයි අක්කා කෙනෙකුයි දෙන්නෙක්ව පෙන්නලා තියෙනවා කෙමිස්ට්‍රි ඩිපාර්ට්මන්ට් එකේ ඉඳලා එයාලා පෝස්ට් ඩොක් කරනවා යුනිවර්සිටි ඔෆ් මිචිගන් වල. ඊට පස්සේ යුනිවර්සිටි ඔෆ් මිචිගන් වලින් පස්සේ දැන් මේ දෙන්නම ඉන්නේ ඉන්ඩස්ට්‍රි. අයියා කසුනයියා වැඩ කරන්නේ චාල්ස් රිවර් ලැබ් එකේ, ඊළඟට ජීවනි අක්කා වැඩ කරන්නේ කෙමිකල්ස් කියලා ලොකු කෙමිකල් කම්පැනි එකක. ඒ වගේ ඔයාලට ග්‍රැජුවේෂන් එකෙන් පස්සේ මෙහි ඔපචුනිටිස් ගොඩක් තියෙනවා. මම දන්නවා ලක්ෂිත අයියා දැන් ලක්ෂිත අයියා කිව්වා වගේ එයා පෝස්ට් ඩොක් එකක් කරන්නේ after the graduation. ඉතින් ඒ වගේ opportunities ගොඩක් තියෙනවා graduation එකෙන් පස්සේ. ඊළඟට අපි හිතුවා ටිකක් විතර කතා කරන්න අපේ යුනිවර්සිටි එකේ තියෙන events ගැන. ඒ කියන්නේ අපිට ඕනුනේ පොඩ්ඩක් පෙන්වන්න යුනිවර්සිටි එකේ දැන් අපි මේ USA වලට ආවට පස්සේ අපි PhD එකට අමතරව අපි මෙහෙ මොනවද කරන්නේ අපේ life එක balance කරගන්න කියලා. අපේ යුනිවර්සිටි එකේ events කිහිපයක් තියෙනවා international students ලට international student association එකෙන්. මේ වගේ events කිහිපයක් එකක් තමයි dinner එක. ඒ කියන්නේ එක cultural event එකක්. යුනිවර්සිටි එකේ ඉන්න හැම රටකම ස්ටුඩන්ට්ස් ලට පුළුවන් තමන්ගේ ට්‍රැඩිෂන් එක කල්චර් එක පෙන්වන්න perform කරන්න. ඊට අමතරව තමන්ගේ රටේ ෆුඩ්ස් ගැන පෙන්වන්න අපිට එක ඉවෙන්ට් එකක් තියෙනවා I village කියලා. එතකොට එතන ෆුඩ් ඩයිවර්සිටි එක හැම රටකින්ම ෆුඩ් ස්ටෝල් එකක් තියෙනවා. අපිට ඕන තැනකින් ගිහිල්ලා එයාලගේ ෆුඩ්ස් ඒ කියන්නේ try කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඊට අමතරව මෙහි ඔහායෝ විතරක් නෙමෙයි අනිත් ස්ටේට්ස් එකතු කරගෙන මේ අවට ඉන්න අයගේ ඇනුවල් ක්‍රිකට් මැච් එකක් තියෙනවා අපිට. ඊට පස්සේ අපිට ඒකේ ඒ දේවල් තියෙනවා. ඊට අමතරව farewell parties, get togethers, ඊළඟට අපි පැදුරක් මෙහි organize කරා. ඒ වගේ දේවල් තියෙනවා අපිට මෙහි life එක balance විදිහට ගෙනියන්න PhD එකට අමතරව. ඒ කියන්නේ PhD අපි research කරනවා, ඉගෙන ගන්නවා. ඒ ඔක්කොම දේවල් එක්ක අපි මේ දේවලුත් කරනවා. මෙහි අපිට PhD කියන්නේම ස්ට්‍රෙස්ෆුල් කියලානේ කෙනෙක්ට හිතෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඊට අමතරව අපි මේ දේවලුත් කරනවා මෙහි ඉන්න අතරේ. නලිනි
අපිට තියෙනවා ශ්‍රී ලංකන් ස්ටුඩන්ට් ඇසෝසියේෂන් එකක් University of Toledo International Student Association එකත් එක්ක අක්කා කිව්වා වගේ එක එක events වලට අපි ඒ හරහා participate වෙනවා. ඒ වගේම අපිට ලොකු ශ්‍රී ලංකන් community එකක් ඉන්නවා Toledo වල. ඊට අමතරව මේ තියෙන්නේ අපි personally අපිට පුළුවන් travel කරන්න ඔයාලට හම්බෙන free time එකේ. හැබැයි මේ කිසි දෙයක් අපේ PhD research වැඩවලට බාධාවක් නොවන විදිහටයි අපි කරන්නේ. Priority number 1 is always research and your academic work. summer එකේ especially summer කාලේ අපිට පොඩි time එකක් හම්බෙනවා travel කරන්න, සෙල්ලම් කරන්න. ඒ වගේ ඔයාලා nature එකත් එක්ක ගොඩක් ඉන්නවා නම් camping කරන්න, hiking යන්න, ඒ වගේ opportunities ගොඩක් තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේම අනිත් city life experience කරන්න Chicago, New York වගේ cities බලන්න. මොකද අපි ලංකාවේදී අපි TV එකෙන් දැකලා films වලින් දැක්ක ගොඩක් දේවල් වලට experience කරන්න පුළුවන්. Shanika අක්කා කියයි තව අපි travel කරපු තැන්.
මේ වගේ තැන්වල අපිට මෙහෙට ඇවිත් යන්න පුළුවන් අපේ රිසර්ච් එකට සහ අපේ PhD එකට බාධාවක් නොවන විදිහට. ඉතින් අපිට කියන්න ඕනුනේ US දැන් application requirements ඔය හැම දෙයක්ම කරගත්තට පස්සේ ඔයාලා මෙහෙට එන්න අපිට ඕනුනේ encourage කරන්න ඔයාලව USA වලට එන්න, ඔයාලගේ higher education එක කරගන්න. ඊට අමතරව ඔයාලට මේ දේවලුත් මෙහෙට ඇවිල්ලා කරන්න පුළුවන් කියලා.
ඒ ටික තමයි අපිට කියන්න තියෙන්නේ. thank you අපිට මේ opportunity එක දුන්නට. මොනවා ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවා නම් අහන්න පුළුවන්. ඕනම ශ්‍රී ලංකන් කෙනෙක් ලක්ෂිත කිව්වා වගේ ඕනම කෙනෙක් ඔයාලා contact කරොත් ඕනම යුනිවර්සිටි එකේ ඉන්න ශ්‍රී ලංකන් කෙනෙක් එයාලා ඔයාලට උදව් කරනවා. අපිත් උදව් කරන්න ලෑස්ති. මොනවා ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා නම් අපිව contact කරන්න. thank you opportunity එකට.
thank you හැම කෙනෙක්ටම.
Thank you, Ms. Nalini Kaluarachchi and Ms. Shanika Gamage. Your generosity in sharing your expertise and experience has been an invaluable gift. Next up, let me introduce you, Mr. Nimantha Perera. He graduated in 2016 from the University of Sri Jayawardhanapura. He's a doctoral student in University of Ruhuna who is carrying out research work at CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research. Mr. Nimantha Perera, over to you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay, so මත් ඉංග්‍රීසි සිංහලයි මික්ස් එක කතා කරන්න. ඒතකොට මටත් කතා කරන්න ලේසි, කට්ටිය තේරුම් ගන්නත් ලේසි වෙයි කියලා හිතන හින්දා අන්තිම මොහොතේදී මම මේක ලෑස්ති වෙන හින්දා මම පොඩි ප්‍රසන්ටේෂන් එක ලෑස්ති කරලා තියෙනවා. මම හිතනවා දැන් මම ෂෙයාර් පේනවා කියලා. මම ඒතකොට මම කිව්වා වගේ මම නිමන්ත අපේ ඉස්සෙල්ලා කතා කරපු නාලිනිගේ බැච් එකම බැච් එකේ ඉගෙන ගත්තේ අපි දෙන්නම. එතකොට මම 2017 ග්‍රැජුවේට් වෙලා ඒ කාලේ ඇත්තටම ලංකාවෙන් පටන් ගත්තා සර්න් එකත් එක්ක මෙමොරැන්ඩම් එකක් ක්‍රියේට් කරලා අපි ලංකාවේ ගෲප් එකක් අපි 8 දෙනෙක් සර්න් ප්‍රොජෙක්ට් එකක් පටන් ගත්තා. හැබැයි ලංකාවේ තියෙන දැන් මේ සිටුේෂන් එකත් එක්ක මේ ප්‍රොජෙක්ට් එක ඉස්සරහට පොඩි බ්‍රේක් එකක් ගන්නි කියලා අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. මොකද ඇත්තටම කිව්වොත් මේ ෆන්ඩින් ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙන හින්දා ඒකින්ද ඒ ගැන මගෙන් කීප දෙනෙක් අහලා තිබ්බා තව ඉස්සරහට ස්ටුඩන්ට්ස්ව ගන්නවද කියලා. මේ වෙලාවේ නම් ස්ටුඩන්ට්ස්ලා ගන්න වෙයි තියෙන සිටුේෂන් එක මත තව ඉස්සරහට ගිහිල්ලා ඉතින් රටේ තත්ත්වය හොඳ වුණොත් ඉස්සරහට ප්‍රොජෙක්ට් එක ආයේ කරන්න වෙයි කරගෙන යයි. එතකොට මම so if I talk about what I'm doing here and where I'm working, so I work at CERN, the European Center for for Nuclear Research. So basically මේක අපි වැඩ කරන particle physics එක LHC accelerator එක තමයි දැන්ට ලෝකෙ තියෙන ලොකුම accelerator එක. එතකොට මේකේ ප්‍රධාන projects 4ක් තියෙනවා. ඊට පස්සේ ආයෙ කතා කරන්න. ඉතින් මම වැඩ කරන්නේ මේ CMS කියන project එකේ gas electron multipliers කියන detector side එකේ. එතකොට detector side එකේ මම ඒකේ වැඩ කරද්දී තව අපි මේ detector එකකින් ගන්න data වලින් ගොඩක් analysis විශාල ගණනාවක් කරන්න යනවා. ඒකේ මම specialize කරන්නේ lepton flavor කියන විශේෂයෙන් lepton flavor violation කියන field එකේ තමයි මම වැඩ කරන්නේ. එතකොට CERN ගැන කතා කරොත් ඇත්තටම there are a lot of people working, around thousands of people working at CERN coming from over 60 countries. So there are not, I mean, CERN කිව්වම අපි හිතන්නේ කෙලිම physics based තැනක් වගේ තමයි අපි ලංකාවේදී අපේ idea තියෙන්නේ. ගොඩක් අයට opportunities තියෙනවා physicists-ලාට physics background එකේ තියෙන engineers-ලාට technicians-ලාට IT side එකේ and even humanities. හැබැයි එකම problem එක තියෙන්නේ මේ හැම field එකටම දැන් අපිට CERN එකෙන් direct opportunities දෙනවා. ඒත් අපි මේක දෙන්නේ member states වලට විතරයි. ලංකාවේ මේ අවස්ථාව member state එකක් නෙමෙයි. ඒකින් අපිට මේවට direct apply කරන්න බෑ CERN එක හරහා. CERN එකට නමුත් අපිට universities ගොඩාක් තියෙනවා. විශේෂයෙන් US වල China, Japan, Korea universities ගොඩක් තියෙනවා. ඒවත් through ඉතින් CERN site එකට ගියාම ඒවට CERN experiments වලට කවුද සහභාගී වෙන්නේ කියලා ඔයාලට බලා ගන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට ඒ universities වලට ගිහිල්ලා ඒ university වල graduate program හරහා CERN එකට enter වෙන්න පුළුවන්. මම කිව්වා වගේ ලෝකෙ තියෙන ලොකුම දැන්ට තියෙන ලොකුම accelerator එක කිලෝමීටර් 27ක් දිවෙනවා. ඉස්සරහට තවත් මේක කිලෝමීටර් 100ක් දක්වා විශාල කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන අතර මේ main detectors 4ක් තියෙනවා. ඉතින් ලොකු සංඛ්‍යාවක් CERN එක ඇතුළේ වැඩ කරනවා. ඉතින් අර කිව්වා වගේ අපේ CV එක හදාගන්න අපිට CERN ප්‍රොජෙක්ට් එකට ඇප්ලයි කරන්න CV එක හදාගන්න ක්‍රම කීපයක් තියෙනවා. අපි ඉස්සෙල්ලා කතා කරේ චන්න මල්ලි නිම්නා ඒ හැමෝම මේ opportunity ගත්ත කට්ටිය විශේෂ CERN site එකට ගියොත් තියෙනවා CERN summer student program එක. තව open lab summer student program එක කියලා තියෙනවා. ඉතින් summer student program එක ගොඩක් based වෙන්නේ physics students අට ඒදී ඔයගොල්ලන්ට ඇවිල්ලා විශේෂයෙන් lectures වලට සහභාගී වෙලා ඉතින් මේ ගැන වැඩි අවබෝධයක් ලබා ගන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට ඊට අමතරව research aspect එක කියන එක ඔයාලා CV එකට අවශ්‍ය research aspect එක කියන එක හදාගන්න පුළුවන් වෙනවා. මං හිතන්නේ ඉස්සෙල්නම් කියන්නේ දැන් මේ ප්‍රශ්න ඉන්න කලින් අපේ අවුරුද්දට 4 දෙනෙක්ට අවස්ථාව ලැබුණා. දැන් ඒක ආයේ අවුරුද්දට එක්කෙනෙක්ට සීමා වෙලා තිනවා. මේ අවුරුද්දේ මං හිතන්නේ සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑමින් ඇප්ලිකේෂන් ඕපන් වෙනවා ඒ කියන්නේ ප්‍රීවියස් කලින් අවුරුද්දේ අන්තිම වෙද්දී ඇප්ලිකේෂන් ඕපන් වෙලා ජනවාරි අන්තිම විතර වෙද්දී ක්ලෝස් ඇප්ලිකේෂන් ක්ලෝස් ඩවුන් වෙනවා සමයකට. එතකොට සාමාන්‍ය සමර් ස්ටුඩන්ට් ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් එක මාස 2ක ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් එකක්. ඉතින් ඔයාලට මෙහි ඇවිල්ලා CERN එකේ මොනවද වෙන්නේ ඒව ගැන වැඩි අධ්‍යයනයක් කරන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට ඕපන් ලැබ් සමර් ස්ටුඩන්ට් ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් එකේ විශේෂයෙන් IT බේස් වෙච්ච කට්ටියට ඉතින් එතකොට IT පැත්තේ knowledge එකක් තියෙනවා. කම්පියුටර් සයන්සස් පැත්තේ වැඩ කරන කට්ටියට මේකට ඇප්ලයි කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඊට අමතරව මෙතන මම දන්නා ඉන්නේ වැඩි හරියක් ස්ටුඩන්ට්ස් අයත් සමාජයට අවුට්රිච් එකක් ඉදී කියලා teachers විදියට වැඩ කරන අයට ඉන්නවා නම් teacher training program එකකුත් තියෙනවා. මේ හැම දෙයක්ම CERN website එකේ CERN කියලා ගහපුවම ඔක්කොම එනවා. CERN website එකේ ගිහිල්ලා කරගන්න පුළුවන්. අපේ ලංකාව පහුගිය අවුරුද්ද ආවේ නැහැ. ඊට කලින් අවුරුදු දෙකේම මේ teacher training program එක හරහත් ලංකාවේ දෙන්නෙක් මෙහෙට ආවා. එතකොට මම විශේෂයෙන් ෆිසික්ස් පැත්ත කතා කරොත් දැන් ඇත්තටම අපේ පාටිකල් ෆිසික්ස් කියන එක විදියකට 2012 අවුරුද්දේ එක්ස්පෝසර් එකත් හොයාගත්තත් එක්ක දැන් පොඩ්ඩක් පෝස්ට් එකක් වගේ තියෙනවා. කියන්නේ ලොකු දේවල් එළියට එන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ වගේම ෆිසික්ස් ගොඩක් වෙලාවට එන්නේ රිපීට් වෙන එක වැඩි data ප්‍රමාණයකින්. ඒකින්ද මේ වැඩි data ප්‍රමාණයක් handle කරගන්න ඕන විදි වලට තමයි වැඩි හරියක් research opportunities ඉන්නේ. ඉතින් machine learning වගේ පැති දේවල් ඒ කියන්නේ Python ඒක programming පැත්ත Python SQL C++ ඒවා ගැන දැනගෙන ඉඳලා ඔයගොල්ලෝගේ SOP එක ඔයාලා ඕනම මේ රිසර්ච් මේකට SOP එකක් හරි රිසර්ච් ස්ටේට්මන්ට් එකක් දෙද්දී මේවා ගැන අපිට පොඩ්ඩක් සඳහන් කරන්න පුළුවන් නම් වටිනවා කියලා මම හිතනවා. එතකොට මේවා කරගන්න දැන් ඕන තරම් ඔන්ලයින් ෆ්‍රී කෝසස් උත් තියෙනවා. Google එකෙන් දෙනවා කෝස් කරා ගිහිල්ලා සමහරවිට LinkedIn ප්‍රොෆයිල් එකක් හදලා තියෙද්දි සමහර වෙලාවට ෆ්‍රී කෝසස් ෆ්‍රී ඔෆර් කරනවා. ඉතින් ඔයාලට වෙලාවක් තියෙන වෙලාවට මේක කරගන්න පුළුවන්. මම මගේ අත්දැකීමක් විදිහට කියන්නේ අපි එන බෑග්ග්‍රවුන්ඩ් එකෙන් පාර්ටිකල් ෆිසික්ස් වලට විශේෂයෙන්දී අපේ බෑග්ග්‍රවුන්ඩ් එක මම දකින විදිහ මේක යුරෝප් බේස් වෙලා තියෙන හින්දා වැඩි හරියක් අපේ බෑග්ග්‍රවුන්ඩ් එක ටිකක් ඒ කියන්නේ අපි දන්න දැනුම තව වර්ධනය කරගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකින්ද මම දෙන ඇඩ්වයිස් එක තමයි හොඳ ග්‍රැජුවේට් ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් එකකට එන්ටර් වෙන්න. එතකොට තමන්ගේ රිසර්ච් එකේ වැඩ කටයුතු හොඳින් කරගෙන යන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට මම හිතුවා යුරෝප් වල කට්ටිය මුණ ගැහෙන හින්දා ඒක යුරෝප් වල এডুকেෂන් සිස්ටම් එක ගැන ටිකක් පොඩ්ඩක් කතා කරන්න ඩොක්ටර් ලීලානි මට ඇඩ්වයිස් එකක් ගත්තා මොන ගැනද කතා කරන්න ඕනේ කියලා. ඒතකොට ડોક્ટર ලීලානිත් මට කිව්වේ මෙහිම යුරෝප් වල දේවල් ගැන කතා කරන්න පුළුවන් නම් හොඳයි කියලා. ඉතින් මම එක දෙයක් කියනවා මේක මගේ ඩිරෙක්ට් එක්ස්පීරියන්ස් එක නෙමෙයි. මොකද මම කිව්වා විදිහට මම ලංකාවේ මෙමොරැන්ඩම් එක කරා තමයි මෙහි ඇවිල්ලා ඉන්නේ. මේ පටන් ගත්තේ දැන් ඉන්නේ විදිහකට යන්නේ. ඒ වුණාට මම මගේ කතා බහ කරලා මම දැනගත්ත දේවල් වලින් කියන්න හිතුණා. එතකොට මෙහි ග්‍රැජුවේට් සිස්ටම් එක වැඩ කරන්නේ ඇත්තටම අපේ විදිහටම 3 year බැචලර් එකකින් ඊට පස්සේ මාස්ටර් එකක් ඕනේ කරනවා. මෙහි යුනිවර්සිටිස් වල මාස්ටර් එකක් ඉල්ලනවා PhD එකකට යන්න. එතකොට මෙහිම තමුන්ට ඒක ගෙවාගෙන ඉන්නත් පුළුවන්. මොකද ඉතාලම අඩු මේ ටියුෂන් ෆී එක ඉතාලම අඩුයි. සෙමෙස්ටරේටම ඩොලර්ස් වලින් ගත්තොත් $500ක් විතර වෙන්නේ. ඩොලර් 510ක් ඊට පස්සේ ඉතුරු වියදම් ඒවා දරන්න අපි ඉන්න තත්ත්වයේ ඒවා දරා ගන්න අමාරුයි. ඉතින් ඊට වඩා හොඳ ඔප්ෂන් එකක් තියෙනවා ෆ්‍රී කරගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ වුණාට යුරෝපියන් සිස්ටම් එක ඇතුලේ ඉන්ටර්නැෂනල් ස්ටුඩන්ට්ස්ට දැන් USA සිස්ටම් එක හරි Aussie සිස්ටම් එක හරි තියෙනවා වගේ opportunities අඩුයි. සාපේක්ෂව අඩුයි. limited number of spots ගන්නක් තියෙන්නේ. මේවා හැබැයි ගොඩක් වෙලාවට කිව්වා වගේ අර ග්‍රැජුවේට් ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් එකක් හරහා නෙමෙයි සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ. මේවා එන්නේ ගොඩක් වෙලාවට ගවර්න්මන්ට් එක තුරු තමයි අපිට එන ඒ කියන්නේ ලංකාවට වගේ ලංකාවේ ස්ටුඩන්ට්ස්ට හම්බ වෙන ස්කෝලර්ෂිප්ස් තියෙන්නේ. මේවා ඔයාලට බලා ගන්න හොඳම විදිය තමයි දැන් ලංකාවේ එම්බසිස් තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ ඒක රටවල අපි හිතමු පාට කැමති ඉටලි වල හරි කොහරි තියෙන යුනිවර්සිටි එකක් මේ යුනිවර්සිටි එකේ මේ වගේ ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් එකක් තියෙනවා. මම යන්න කැමතියි කියලා හිතනවනම් අපිට පුළුවන් එම්බසි සයිට් එම්බසි ඒ කියන්නේ ලංකාවේ තියෙන එම්බසි එකේ සයිට් එකට යන්න. මේ හැම සයිට් එකේම වගේ විස්තර කරලා තියෙනවා මොනවාද ලංකාවේ එතකොට ලංකාවේ එම්බසි සයිට් එකට ගිහිල්ලා බැලුවොත් ලංකාවේ ස්ටුඩන්ට්ස්ට මේ මොන වගේ ඔපචුනිටිස් ගන්න පුළුවන් කියලා. ඉතින් සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අර කිව්වා වගේ USA විදිහටම අපිට ග්‍රාන්ට් හම් වෙනවා. කරගෙන යන්න තමන්ගේ ස්ටඩීස් එතකොට අවශ්‍ය බේසික් රික්වයර්මන්ට්ස් වලටයි ටියුෂන් ෆී වේවර් එකකුයි හම්බ වෙනවා. හැබැයි ගොඩක් වෙලාවට මේ ඔපචුනිටිස් ඉන්නේ මාස්ටර්ස් වලට නෙමෙයි. Doctoral හරි Postdoctoral හරි fellowships වලට තමයි හරි fellowships වලට හරි තමයි තියෙන්නේ. ඒකින්ද අපි මාස්ටර් කියන මේක ඒ qualification එක අරන් තියාගන්න ඕනේ. අනිත් ප්‍රශ්නේ තමයි ෆ්‍රී කියන එකත් එක්ක පොඩි ප්‍රශ්නයක් එනවා. language restrictions එනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ ඉංග්‍රීසි කතා කරන countries වල ප්‍රශ්නයක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ගොඩක් ඉංග්ලන්ඩ් අපේ දැන් ගොඩක් කට්ටිය ඉංග්ලන්ඩ් වලට යනවා. මොකද මේ language restriction එකේ නැහැ. අනිත් රටවල මේ free කියන concept එක යන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ ඒ රටේ ළමයිට free තියෙන්නේ. ඉතින් ඒ රටේ language එකෙන් තමයි ගොඩක් වෙලාවට courses කරන්නේ. දැන් මම CERN තියෙන්නේ ස්විට්සර්ලන්ඩ් වල ඉන්නේ. මෙහි basic language තුනක් කතා කරනවා. German, French, Italian. එතකොට එක එක state වල එක එක languages තමයි use වෙන්නේ. ඒ language එකෙන් තමයි ඒගොල්ලෝ course work කරන්නේ. හැබැයි ඔයාලා ගිහිල්ලා බැලුවොත් සමහර වෙලාවට ඒ කියන්නේ ඉංග්‍රීසි වලින් කරනවා දේවල්. මේ ඉංග්‍රීසි වලින් දැන් ගොඩක් ස්ටඩීස් ඉංග්‍රීසි වලට බේස් වෙලා තින් මම ගිහිල්ලා මෙහි යුනිවර්සිටි ඔෆ් ජිනීවා වල තියෙන ලෙක්චර් ප්‍රොෆෙසර් කෙනෙක්ව හම්බෙලා ඉස්සර හොවම කිව්වේ දැන් සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම තියෙන ඉංග්‍රීසි වලින් ඒ වුණාට අර ඒගොල්ලෝ ලැන්ග්වේජ් රික්වයර්මන්ට් එකක් දාලා තියෙනවා. ඉතින් සමහරක් පිට කතා කරලා බලන්න පුළුවන් මෙහෙද ඇවිල්ලා තමන්ගේ ස්ටඩීස් කරන ගමන් ඒ කියන්නේ මොකද ඉංග්‍රීසි වලින් කරගන්න පුළුවන් කියලා තමයි කියන්නේ. ඒකට අවශ්‍ය රික්වයර්මන්ට්ස් එක එක යුනිවර්සිටිස් වල ගියම් තියෙනවා. ගොඩක් වෙලාවට IELTS දැන් Duolingo කියන app එක මම දැක්ක නැල්ලික් වෙනවා. Duolingo කියන app එකෙන් මේ ඒකෙන් එන qualification එකත් ඒගොල්ලෝ බාර ගන්නවා. ඒකින්ද language restrictions තියෙනවා. ඒකින්ද ඒ ගැන පොඩ්ඩක් අවධානය යොමු කරන්න වෙනවා. මම කිව්වා වගේ scholarships ගොඩක් තියෙනවා. scholarships තියෙනවා international students වලට especially from the South Asian region කියලා වෙනමම තියෙනවා. ඒකින්ද ඒ අදාළ embassy websites වලට ගිහිල්ලා හරි නැත්නම් දැන් එතන ඊමේල් එකක් හොයාගෙන ඒ කෙනෙක්ට කතා කරලා මේ ගැන දැනගන්න පුළුවන්. මම හිතන්නේ මම ඒ ටික තමයි කතා කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ. මොන හරි ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා කට්ටියම කිව්වා වගේ ඕන වෙලාවක ඕනම ප්‍රශ්නයක් අපිට මගේ ඊමේල් ඇඩ්‍රස් එක දීලා තියෙනවා. ඊමේල් ඇඩ්‍රස් එකට එවන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකෝට මම අනිවාර්යෙන් පුළුවන් තරම් ඉක්මනට reply කරන්න. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nimantha Perera, for empowering us to reach greater heights with your experience. And next, with great pleasure, we welcome Mr. Isuru Priyaranga, co-founder and the first secretary of the Japura Astronomy Club. valuable insights shared by our distinguished panelists. It's time to move forward with the question and answers session. Please turn on your microphones or utilize the chat box to submit your questions. Let's make the most of this opportunity to engage with our experts and delve deeper into the fascinating world of higher studies. The floor is now open for your questions.
Okay, first of all, thank you everyone for giving me this opportunity. I wasn't sure whether I could even attend to this one. Anyway, so Dr. Leilani contacted me again yesterday asking, hey, Isuru, you have to join for the Q&A session. And I mean, we have other grad students too from our university and from other universities as well. So I'm more than happy to answer all of you for your questions. If you have anything about higher studies to ask, yeah, so you guys can ask any question. Yeah, so I'm here. By the way, is it okay if I share one of my presentation? I mean, I just made a presentation for you guys just to have a look. I mean, I just made like 5 minutes ago, just putting like some of the images together just to show what we do here. Shall I?
Yes, Mr. Isuru, we'll be more than glad to have you.
Yeah, so I will just show you some of the stuff I do. I just put some random images just to show you guys. Okay, so yeah, so I'm a cave microbiologist. Mama කියන්නේ cave microbiologist කෙනෙක් විදිහට තමයි මාව හඳුන්වන්නේ මම. So we go into different caves around the US, and at the same time I'm an astrobiologist. I don't know whether you guys know about astrobiology, so which means studying the possibility of life in another planet. So in my case, I use caves as my model to study the possibility of life in alien environments. So this is my supervisor. So she's also a cave microbiologist, and she's one of the top 2 scientists in the world. And she was in one of the top 10 female scientists in the world list. And then now she's a NASA astrobiologist advisor. So she's one of the greatest scientists at the moment in the microbiology field, at least. Yeah, so we go into different caves all around the US. And so I just want to show you that many things like in PhD, it's all about the lab. So you have to stay in your lab every time. Well, true, sometimes we have to stay till midnight. So sometimes even maybe up to late nights. But at the same time, you have so many fun opportunities. So you can travel everywhere. In my case, I have travel grants. So actually university pay for me, or I have some granting opportunities. So there's granting agencies pay for my expenses. So we travel so many caves all around the US. So as an example, last year I got a grant from NASA Astrobiology Institute. So that includes our airplane tickets, our hotels, gas, like all the petrols for our cars or our vehicles. So it's amazing. So we go different caves. So this is just from one cave. And yeah, you guys can see at the same, while doing our research in our lab, at the same time, we travel everywhere without spending a single penny from our pocket. So can අපේ pocket එකෙන් 7-5ක වීදමක් කරන්න නැතුව ඇමරිකා පුරාම travel කරනවා මේ research වැඩවලට. ඊට අමතරව ඉතින් අපි අතින් වීදම් කරගෙන trips යන වෙලාවලුත් තියෙනවා. නමුත් ඒ වගේම සෑහෙන වලට chances තියෙනවා හිමේ යන්න. ඉතින් හරිම fun සහ adventure වගේ වැඩ. මේ තියෙන මම එක hotel එකක නතරලා හිටියා. ඒ hotel එකේ දවසක කියන්නේ යාළගේ දවසකට යාළා ගන්න ගාන මට මතකද $180ක් හෝ $200ක්. ඉතින් ඒ වගේ හොටෙල් එකක මම දවස් 3ක් නතරලා හිටියා. ඉතින් 7-5ක් වේදම් කරේ නෑ. ඔක්කොම ඒකට නම් පේ කරේ යුනිවර්සිටි එකෙන්. ඒ සමහර රිසර්ච් වලට ගිහින් ඉතින් අපි plates ඔක්කොම ගෙනලා hotel එකේ තියාගෙනම තමයි ඔක්කොම process කරන වැඩ කරන්නේ. ඊට පස්සේ හොඳ සැප ඇඳක් තියෙනවා. ඉතින් හොඳට නාලා කාලා නිදාගන්න තමයි තියෙන්නේ රෑ කාලේ. ඉතින් ඒ වගේ සෑහෙන chances තියෙනවා. මේ තියෙන්නේ අපිටත් තියෙනවා අපේ university එකේ නම් dinner එකක් හැම Friday every Friday we have like a dinner with international students. So it's free almost every Friday. So even I was there last night. So there are so many like some traditional American food at the same time. They cook some international foods like Iranian, Persian foods, Indian foods, Bangladeshi food. So far there was no any Sri Lankan food because there's only 3 Sri Lankans at the moment. So I want to have more Sri Lankans in our university. Yeah, so I just added some images just to show you guys that how's our life here, other than our lab stuff and other than our regular academics. Okay, what ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවා නම් අහන්න පුළුවන්. Anyone?
Thank you very much, Mr. Isuru. We have one question from the audience. Even though many of us have the dream to achieve big while young, the energy and the motivation is being lost with time.
Yeah.
What should we do for that?
So what's the specific question?
Sorry, Mr. Isuru.
You said there's one student here with the question.
Yes,
Oh.
let me repeat the question again. Even though many of us have the dream to achieve big while we are young, the
Okay.
energy and the motivation is being lost with time. And what should we do for that?
That's a very tough question, though. Here's the thing. So I don't know what he or she meant about the time. So I entered to the university from my 3rd try. So I was 22 or 21. Yeah, I think 21. Oh, wait. No, yeah, I was 20. Yeah, I was 22 when I entered to the university, to the best of my memory, 22 or 21. And I graduated when I was 25. So I think I was already too late. If I think of my age and versus the year I graduated. So somehow I managed everything. I mean, I focused on my academics, at the same time focused on this research. I mean, my research, at the same time focused on my clubs and everything. And then, yep. At the same time, I did so many extracurricular activities other than the university stuff. I mean, outside of the university. So, I mean, the thing is, I had a really good focus. So it was kind of easy for me, although I was too late when I consider about my age. Who's the person? If he or she can ask the question like very specifically, I think I can give you much better answer. But for me, it's really hard to think what she or he meant by the time and I mean energy thing. So I can answer everything if he or she can ask like very specifically, like his or her like ear, other information. Can he or she just raise her or his hands and ask me the question? That would be, I mean, easy for me to understand the situation.
Mr. Isuru, we have received the question from, not actually from a name, but an anonymous number.
Oh.
But I don't think in the participant list I can find the same person right now.
It's okay. So what I can tell is that I was already too late. I was 25 when I was graduated, because most of the students, they entered the university from their 2nd try or maybe their 1st try. I entered to my university from my 3rd try. So already I have wasted some of my age or my time doing my A-levels, and I graduated at 25, but still I made it. So what my suggestion is that do not give up, keep trying. That's what I did. So focus on, I mean, first thing is you have to have a clear clear goal or aim in your life. So have a plan A, like this is my first, my top priority. And then have another plan B. In case something happen, you should have a plan B too. So, I mean, in my case, I had a plan A. My plan A was always to work under this supervisor because she's the best, like one of my favorite supervisors at the time. So I always wanted to work under this supervisor in the US. And then at the same time, I had a plan B to go Australia to complete my studies. So if you feel like you're too late, still, first thing you have to find your priorities. Find your priorities, and maybe take 1 year. Try to fill all the gaps where you feel like, oh, I should fill this, I should fill this. So try to fill these gaps within the coming year, and then try to apply. That's what I can say, because I don't have enough information about his or her like field of studies or like the year or anything. I don't have any extra specific details. So that's all I can say. I started very late, but I made it. It's all about your dedication, how you plan and do everything. Any other questions?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Isuru. I personally know a lot of people who are very upset about their timing with the same experience. And I think your answers supported a lot to everyone who are present here today. And also, I would like to direct the same question to all the esteemed guests who are present here today to give your experience and answer for this same question as well.
Well, I'll take a jump on that. I really like the question in a way, because it's a thing that sometimes we discuss. I'm 32, I guess. I'm 32 this year. I entered the university on my first try, but things happen, right? I actually planned to graduate 1 year ahead of time, but then I had a baby, so I had to push my graduation another year back. Well, I mean, my wife had the baby, but of course, we both became parents. We both were graduate students, right? My advice, if your question was directed, as Isuru said, it was kind of a vague question, but if your question was about if you are losing your interest, always try to do something that you're passionate about. If you're losing your interest, that's probably not the best research area that you have picked. If you have picked your most passionate research area, you will always find a way to enjoy it. And always, we don't do research 24/7. We do have lives, we travel, we hang out with friends, we do all crazy stuff time to time. But life is still there, and that's the most important thing. That's why we study hard to do what we like, right? It's not about doing research all the time. So yeah, you just find the balance and don't worry about it too much. You guys are still young. We are old, I guess, technically old. But you'll be fine. You'll find that passion inside in your graduate program, and that's a journey. Graduate program is not like undergraduates. It's not like you know exactly what you are going, what tomorrow is going to be. Graduate program is going to be a lot of ups and downs, sideways and hitting walls and stuff, and that way you will find your path. So that's my response to that question.
Thank you very much, Doctor. And to what Dr. Lakshitha Perera said, I think the second question kind of aligns with the same answer. We have another question, how to find the exact passionate research area?
Was it directed to me?
This is an actually open question and answer.
Okay, open question. Okay, I'll take a first hit at it too. So that's an interesting thing. So in your graduate program, sometimes like, you come in from your undergraduate, you have certain level of skills, you have certain level of exposure, you have the input from your faculty members, you have your input from your peers and your seniors. And the thing is, once you come to the graduate program, you feel like, well, this is not exactly what I want to do. Maybe this is great, right? So that can always happen. And even through your PhD, like, after your PhD, as I said, I was a math student. I didn't know there were 20 amino acids until I started my fourth year, first semester, and took my first biochemistry course ever. I did a research in proteins, right? And then I went into protein engineering, and now I'm in genomics. I sometimes wonder, what am I doing with my life, right? We are like that. So it's the beauty of it. So the thing is, I like challenges. So I think I shift my field and get into new areas and challenge myself like that. Some people like to stay in one path and just excel in that. So as I said, the graduate program is a sort of a process, and that kind of will help you find your passion as well. It might be in a painful way, sometimes you'll feel like, hey, this is not working, and you get frustrated, and that's always a part of your graduate program. I hope that's not the case, but there are situations like that. So passion, I guess, comes within that experience. It's like, you have an idea, but ideas sometimes change for many different reasons, right? And it can be for many different reasons in research, many different reasons in personal life, and, many different reasons in your country. Like, for example, my plans sometimes change because of what's going on in Sri Lanka. But, you find a way.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Do we have any other experience or stories to answer that question, esteemed guest?
Yeah, I will add a little bit on this. I totally agree with Lakshitha, and I think as a undergrad, I also could not think of what is my passion, like what is the exact field that I will be working. But I applied, I came here, I had, as I showed you, I had many options, like many categories. But you can go and talk to these research professors, you can talk to the research groups, and you can work in research groups for a little bit of time and take the experience. And then you have that gut feeling, okay, this is what I'm going to do. So that's what happened to me. And I think, please correct me if I'm wrong. I think if you're not satisfied with first enrollment, I think you can change your universities after you entered. I think Dr. Lakshitha can comment on this. So things will change. You will find your passion. It's different when you come here. You will understand. You will understand yourself. You will figure out yourself. So I need to add a little bit. So if our students, especially girls, have any fear or any little suspect about the security or the things happening here, because I think till date I have never experienced any bad thing here. So if you have any doubt about that, your security, I would say it's more secure in US or any other country, I guess. And I think that I wanted to add that because we know how we are coming from, the families that protect us, and we have some Sri Lankan things, right? So here, I think you have the security, and I have worked in the labs in the night. I have traveled to my apartment in the late night, I have no experience anything bad. So I wanted to emphasize that also. So yeah, that's my experience.
Thank you very much, madam. Mr. Nimantha Perera, Mr. Isuru Priyaranga Silva. We would be glad to hear from you as well.
I'll go last if there's anyone else. Maybe Mr. Nimantha Perera can comment first. I will go last because I feel like I'm a little exceptional case.
Yeah, I mean, I think both Dr. Lakshitha and Nalini added to this question quite well. So in my case, it was different. I was always going to do particle physics, and but the thing was particle physics at the end of 2019, 2010s and beginning of 2020 was dying out a bit. Because the discovery of the Higgs boson, and it's a lot of money that goes into particle physics, and there are problems from the other scientific community as why so much of funds goes into this, and we are not seeing anything at the moment. So yeah, as I said, in my ideas, so yeah, our plans could change. So everything comes into play, especially our personal life. So our plans could change, and one way I was looking at it was so especially in the US, the graduate system works like the first 2 years you do the masters and you have to do coursework and all. Then, but I was thinking was I go there and then do these courses, and then I could have a quite a broader view of the departments there, and even the research. The people who do, I could talk to the people who do research, and then find out maybe if I wanted to change my line of work, this could help me. So I think that's on the table for everybody. Yeah, Isuru, maybe you can add some.
Yeah, so my case was a little exceptional, I guess, because since my high school, since my A-levels, I always wanted to be an astrobiologist. So, because I was I was a biologist student, at the same time I love astronomy. And when I came to the university, there was no astronomy club. That's why we started the astronomy club for the Japura. That's why we started the astronomy club for Japura. So at the same time, so even when I was at Japura, I was doing microbiology. At the same time, I was the secretary of astronomy club. So for some people, it's like two different fields, astronomy and some microbiology. And in my first year, I realized there's one way to combine all this stuff. That's the astrobiology. So I was keep focusing on astrobiology, how I can combine my microbiology to astrobiology. And then in my fourth year, I proposed my own research project for my undergrad. At our fourth year, we had to do a research project for our undergraduate degree, like a special degree. So I met one of our professors in my university, and then I told her, hi, professor, I want to be an astrobiologist in the future. So I want to do something like this for my undergrad research. If I do this, then I can achieve this target. So I told her all my career goals and everything. And she was like, oh, let's do it. And she helped me. So if you have any kind of dreams, I think you better go and talk with professors. They are really helpful. So in my case, I was lucky and she helped me, and I did the KU microbiology research in Sri Lanka, and I kind of connected it to astrobiology as well. And I published in a journal, and then because again, it was a plan, because the supervisor I showed you in my images, so I knew that she's the expert in the world. So I target her journal. So she is one of the main editors of a particular journal. I published in that particular journal, and then I wrote to her saying, hi, my paper was published in your journal, and do you have any PhD opportunities? And then she contacted me at the same day, and that's how I got my scholarship. So I always had a goal and a dream, and also I planned my supervisor in 2017 when I was in my second year. So I personally chose my PhD supervisor, my current PhD supervisor, when I was in my second year in my university. So I always had a plan, it worked luckily, but I had at the same time I had a second plan too, like a plan B too. But for me, somehow I was lucky to get into the field I was dreaming since my A levels. At the same time, I was lucky to work under the same supervisor I was dreaming since my university second year. So it's kind of an exceptional case, but I had a plan B too, like to go Australia to work under some other scientists who work with stromatolites, something like that. It depends on the people to people.
Thank you, Mr. Isuru. And we have Ms. Shanika Gamage and Ms. Nimna Peiris as well. We are really looking forward for your answers as well.
Yeah, so as Lakshitha and Nalini said, so if you think you're not passionate about what you're doing, the only thing you can do is change your path. As an example, if you want to change the program, yes, you can change the program after coming here. And also if you want to change the university, still you can change that too. And also even after graduation, if you want to change your field, like I'm a carbohydrate chemist, but if I want to change my field to analytical chemistry, still I can do that. So if you are not passionate about what you are doing, you always can change that. And I wanted to add something to the previous question. So it's about the timing, right? So in our department, we have two people. They have kids. I think they are like 17 years old. They're like, they started their PhD around 40, when they are 42 years. So I think it doesn't matter. You can start at any time. So you can start your PhD even after your graduation, even after your bachelor's. But still, if you do a job, like let's say it's after 10 years, if you want to start your PhD, still you can do that. So that's my experience during these 5 years. So yeah.
Thank you very much, Ms. Shanika Gamage.
So in my experience, so we are doing a 4-year degree. So in the 4th year, we are doing a research project. So when we are doing that research project, you will eventually get an idea on what you are interested in. So particularly, my research project was on computational physics. It is basically on a 2D material. So I got interested if I can. So this is a computational one. So can I do this experimentally? So I got really enthusiastic on experimental side of the material science. So I hope in your 4th year, with your experience, you will eventually get an idea on what you are interested. That's what I have to say. And in addition to that, I want to share something. So I applied for several PhD applications, and I would like to share one of the offer letters that I got, so that you can get an idea what is the what kind of offer letter if you get selected for that. So I will share it. So this is from University of Pittsburgh. So this is what I got here. It's so I got. So I got 3, so here from Pittsburgh, I got 3 letters. One from the graduate School of Art and Science, that I got the offer that I'm selected for the fall intake. And the second letter shows that the teaching assistant appointment, and they already stated the stipend that I will get each term. And what are the fees that they will contributed. So in here, they said that I will receive a tuition scholarship and an individual health insurance coverage as well. So as I had gotten a teaching assistant position, I had to work no more than 20 hours in a week. So those are the conditions. And if I want to accept this admission offer, then I have to accept it before April 15th. So ඕගලන්ට සමහර විට the applications offer letters ආවොත් එකකින් නෙමෙයි දෙක තුන හතරකින් එන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට ඕගලන්ට අන්තිම decision එක අරගෙන මොකද්ද accept කරන්නේ මොකද්ද reject කරන්නේ කියලා අපිට timeline එකක් තියෙනවා usually April 15 වෙනකම්. So April 15 වෙනකම් ඔයගලන්ට බලන් ඉන්න පුළුවන් universities offers වෙනකම්. ඊට පස්සේ ඔයගලන් කැමති university එකකට accept කරන්න පුළුවන් ඊට reject කරලා. එතකොට මට I got another letter from the University of Pittsburgh from the physics department. So ඒගොල්ලෝ මේක basically කියන්නේ that they guarantee that at least 5 consecutive years of finance support will be given. And they already stated that the current stipend amount per month as well to give me an idea what's going on this PhD program. And they also had described the facilities in their department and the students' life. So those are the things that I got from Pittsburgh here. So I think you will get idea on what kind of offers letters that you will get when you're applying for PhD applications. That's all.
Thank you very much, Ms. Nimna. Since we don't have any other questions in the chat box, I thought of asking a question that I've been having quite recently. And seeing this panel right here in front of me, I don't think I'll ever get this kind of an opportunity to ask this question ever again. So I want to thank Dr. Lidani Attygalle. Madam, thank you very much for giving me this moment. And my question is, since I was 10-year-old, my dream was to go to NASA. That has been fixed till 24-year-old. I'm 24 now. And that's why I started doing physics. And I'm currently following a BSc special degree in physics. But eventually, I started liking quantum mechanics as well. So just as Mr. Isuru said, I started trying how to connect quantum mechanics and cosmology, and then I found out quantum cosmology. I really want to pursue this dream, and I'm ready to do anything to achieve that because that has been my passion. I call it my passion. And so my question is, if I do a research or if I do my higher studies, would it be possible for me to do quantum cosmology together? Or am I supposed to pursue quantum mechanics first and then do astronomy in a side way? Or should I, I have no clear idea to which way I should go forward to achieve this. So yeah, that is my question. I have kind of a doubt which way I should take properly after this year.
I think we have two physics specialists here. So I think if they can comment first, and I will go with the NASA things later. Because we have two physics specialists. Dr. Lakshitha and Mr. Nimantha Perera.
I'm actually from chemistry, but I also have something to add on to that. I'm actually, my specialty is in chemistry. So I'll let Nimantha start off, then maybe I'll take and you can jump in with the NASA background.
Hi. I was thinking more of whether Channa was still with us. I guess not. Yeah, I mean, would be the ideal person to answer this question. I think he's not around, right? Okay.
Okay, so Mr. Nimantha, do you have any comments on the thing?
No, I mean, If I answered, I wouldn't say it would be correct. So I would rather not answer it at this moment.
Yeah, so the thing is, like, I'm not from physics field, so it's really hard for me to understand what kind of degree programs that you have in Sri Lanka and in the University of Sri Javardhanapura. So I think you have physics special degree. So I think for you, your first step should be get your special degree in physics. That's what I think. And then after that, maybe if you want to, like, if you want to specialize in a particular field, you can do a master's. And then you can refer to your website. I mean, then you can show that I have already started writing stuff related to this field, so I have some knowledge, so you can use it as an evidence. I did the same thing. I started writing to Sri Lankan newspapers, Vidusara, and then Tarulova, about astrobiology. And at the end of my fourth year, I had like a huge list of like newspaper articles I wrote on astrobiology, and I referred that to show my experience and my knowledge in astrobiology field, although my special degree was in microbiology, not astrobiology, but still I did microbiology, but at the same time I wrote to Sri Lankan newspapers for 4 years about astrobiology, almost every week, almost every month. So I showed it as an experience. So they know, oh, this person has a background in microbiology. At the same time, he's a very wide knowledge in astronomy because he used to be a writer for this field. So it was kind of an advantage to me. So you can do the same. You can do your special degree in physics. At the same time, you can start writing some blog articles or something like that. If you can, try to write to Sri Lanka, like established newspapers, maybe Sunday Times, something like that. At the same time, try to start your own blog or something so that you can refer. You can show, oh, I'm really interested in this field. I've been writing for this website for like 3 years, 2 years. So they will count it as an experience. And then maybe you can do a master. I don't know whether you have any quantum physics in the university. I have no idea. But if you feel like you don't have like that particular field, you can do a master's, or maybe you can find some online courses. Like there are so many online courses. You can do some online courses and you can try to find a way to fill that gap and then try to apply it to different universities. That's what I recommend you to do, because that's what I did.
Thank you very much, Mr. Isuru.
Yeah, I'll piggyback on that. So again, my background is the chemistry, right? So just like you guys, I had my passion when, deep down, my passion was I was going to do chemistry, right? That was my goal. I was like, irrespective of my level results, I convinced my parents way ahead of time. I'm going to USA, I'm doing chemistry, right? So with chemistry, then I stepped in to different levels, computational chemistry, different areas. So the thing is, again, I don't know how the program works for physics, and especially in Jaipur, I'm really sorry about that, but I can maybe point you towards somebody who might know. But at the same time, I know that there's a good program in ASU, Arizona State University, that you might want to dig into, and they have a really good support for international students, because I did a similar program like this with them last year. So I know that they might be a good resource to you. So that's a pointer for you just to go ahead and look into their program. But at the same time, what I would advise you is, just like Isuru said, the personal blogs are really a thing that the professors are actually interested in. That really sort of shows that you are passionate about it. And in the US, so in Sri Lanka, the degree programs, in most of the major public universities, how they're established is to give you the foundation, right? And they do a really good job. When you come here, you find it's very easy to, branch into any other areas, in my opinion, at least. So, but once you come here, that's why I recommended previously too, just to look at not in the physics department, but you can also look into different other departments, and you might actually find exactly the specialty program in the division that you are selecting. So I'm pretty sure that just like you, there's somebody else who want to do the same thing, and he or she might be a professor right now and are looking for students. So it's just that you just need to convince them, hey, I might be the next one you want to pick. And for that, I think Isuru gave you a really good suggestion. And yeah, they are really into, like, I was going to say the same thing. Personal blogs might help you, but he said the same thing. So it's something that I would recommend to you. And they really do consider that. And, keep your profile, some online profile really up to date. It can be LinkedIn these days. But something like, you need to show what you're doing, and, you need to keep it updated.
Thank you very much, sir. It means a lot to me. Thank you very much. And also little thanks goes to Miss Nimna Peiris as well for listening to me every day about my dreams and questions. Every time I meet Miss Nimna, I ask these questions. Thank you very much for that as well, Miss Nimna Peiris. And with that, we have come to the end of the Q&A session. And I would like to request all our panelists to turn on the cameras to take a picture with us. Participants, you also can turn on the cameras. Is there anyone who's willing to turn on the camera? All right, we will now take the picture. Okay, thank you very much. And again, thank you very much, Mr. Channa Hatharasinghe, Ms. Nalini Kaluarachchi, Mr. Lakshitha Perera, Ms. Nimna Peiris, Ms. Shanika Gamage, Mr. Nimantha Perera, and Mr. Isuru Priyaranga for this time. I think everyone who are present here today are so honored and truly blessed to engage in this conversation. Thank you very much for that. As we wrap up today's program, Guidance to be Best, we trust that this discussion will serve as a catalyst to help you turn your academic aspirations into a promising reality. Last but not least, I would like to invite Bimsara Alavatugoda to deliver the water thanks.
Thank you, Panchanyaka. Good evening, everyone. Please forgive me for not turning on my camera because of the connection issues at the current time. So, first of all, I would like to mention someone who's special for the club and who's the guidance and the strength of this club is our professor, Dr. Lilani Attygalle, who has been the pillar of support of our club, and without her, this program would not be a success. As I know, whenever I go to a lecturer, she's asking me, Bimsara, what is happening for this? What is happening? And without her, this would be not be here. So first of all, I would like to thank you, madam, and the guidance you gave us, the support you gave us was pretty much impressive. And after that, I would like to thank our distinguished guests, namely Mr. Channa Hatharasinghe, who's not here with us at this moment, and Ms. Nalini Kaluarachchi, Dr. Lakshitha Perera, Ms. Nimna Peiris, Ms. Shanika Gamage, Mr. Nimantha Perera, Mr. Isuru, Priyaranga. I especially want to thank you all. You all had a short time period for preparing, and I have no words to express my feelings for your dedication towards this program. So after that, thank you for all my participants. Thank you for the participating at this event, because I know that personally I too had many issues in participating. Maybe the signal issues, the rain around Colombo at this time, and bearing this long session is not easy. So thank you all participants for participating in this event. And last but not least, I want to thank my executive board of the Astronomy Club and my beloved OC. Without you all, I would not be able to conduct this event. And me and my coach coordinator Devin would never be able to get together with this program along with ourselves, but because of the guidance of the executive board and the support of my OC, we were able to. And thank you all for being with us at this moment today. Thank you.
Thank you, Bimsara. We wish you all the very best in your future endeavors as we wrap up today's event. May you continue to shine and achieve success in all your academic pursuits. Thank you for gracing us with your presence tonight, and let's delve into the world of possibilities together as Sri Lankans. Signing off, your host for the day, Panchini Karunaratna. Thank you and have a great evening.
Thank you, everyone. Nice to meet you.
Yeah,
Thank
nice to meet you
you.
all. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
If you guys have any questions, you can reach us through our emails.
Yes.
You can
Yeah,
totally
just
and you can
please.
contact us for anything.
Yeah. Best of luck.
Best of luck.
Best of luck.
Go grab it.